Good morning, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Let's get our heads right on a Wednesday, August 23rd, 2023. We are here. We are live. We are all dressed in black, as we typically do. I mean, we typically do anyway, but really after these Padres losses, it's just this very long, drawn-out funeral for our beloved baseball team. Fix my camera right quick there. Let's see if I can make that happen for everybody. Yeah, you can follow us on YouTube. Watch us on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, search Ben and Woods. If you want to watch us there, you can listen on the audio, on the Odyssey app. There's a million different ways you can stream Ben and Woods, and allegedly some more ways to come. So we're working on a couple of other things. Just we really like you to consume us.
We don't really care where or how.
Yeah. Just as long as you're eating us.
Enjoy us.
Just eat. Just sit down and
devour.
And dive right in. I'm Woodsy. To my right is our executive producer, Paul Reindl. Going to brag on my friend Paulie here in a moment. I wanted to introduce also my friend Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, who had yesterday.
You've intrigued me already with your tone of voice.
Who had yesterday the biggest flex that I have ever effing seen in my entire life ever. We're going to tug at the heartstrings with Paulie, but I'm going to sit in awe of Benjamin Higgins yesterday. Paulie, I don't even know if you know this yet.
I have no idea where you're going.
Okay, so yesterday after the show, we had made plans to grab a coffee with our 8:35 guest, Skip Schumaker, manager of the Miami Marlins.
Very jealous I couldn't be there.
Paulie had something going on, which we will get into in a moment. It was up near, Skip lives in Orange County, was driving down, said, yeah, I'd love to meet you guys for coffee and catch up. Not at the ballpark with other people around, just sit and chew the fat a little bit. So we meet him at the Starbucks.
You got AJ Cassavell lingering
Yeah, Dennis
around.
Lynn with his notepad trying to get some story.
Yeah, no.
And it's like, come on,
We don't
bro.
want that.
We're talking family. We're talking all kinds of stuff. I look at Skip as I ask Skip like fatherhood questions and stuff, and he's a great dad. Like he's a mentor type. Well, we go sit down at Starbucks and we're chewing the fat for a while. Oh man, and all I wanted to know is, dude, how's it going? What's it like? Like we talked to Skip so many times, but like now you're like the boss, like
big league manager.
Manager,
one
like
of 30 jobs on earth, and he's holding it.
And I'm like, hey, do they like send you down the lineups and stuff? I'm asking him like all these questions, all the stuff that we want to know. And we're there for about 15, 20 minutes. All of a sudden, Paul, oh God, Ben goes, well, excuse me, guys, I gotta take off. And Skip's like, oh, where are you going? He's like, I got to go to my trainer. And I'm like, oh, my God, you did it. Holy cow. The biggest flex I have ever seen. Stands up and he's like, sorry, Skip Schumaker of the perfect builds. I've got to go to my trainer. I'll see you later.
She's got classes before and after me. I mean, it's a tight schedule. I can't just leave her hanging. I got to go visit my trainer.
No, I admired you. It was such a flex. Hey, excuse me, Skip. I got to run to the trainer. As you're very well.
I also wanted to give you 2 year alone time.
Thank you. I
bit.
appreciate it.
There's a Skip and I get along well, but there's a special bond between you and Skip, I think, that just goes beyond me or the show. You're just two peas in a pod. You're kind of simpatico.
He's such a great, great, great human being, and very hard to root against. He really is. He's just a great guy. And
well, then I've got good news for you from last night's game.
We should all put on Marlins hats today.
Dude, but I just thought it was it was cool. I'm telling you. You always say you're not cool. That was effing cool. You're like, I got to go to my trainer. See you guys later. I was like, oh my God. Drives off in an IROC smoking a cigarette. Like, it was the coolest you've ever looked in my eyes.
Thank you.
I got to go to my trainer, Skip. See ya. And just walked
Simply
away.
Matter of fact, I don't like to be late.
Yeah,
so
of course.
I had to get going.
It was
time.
so awesome. So then I want to brag on our executive producer, Paulie, for a moment here. Paulie doesn't like to brag about himself. I will do it for him or with him or whatever. And I don't know, I don't want to share anybody's personal business. But there's a friend of their family's and they lost somebody close to them. Paul and Megan did. And that person left behind
A wife and 4 kids.
a wife and 4 kids. It was devastating.
The oldest being 9. I mean, just young children. And not that it matters, but her hands are so full right now.
I can't even fathom it, to be clear. I mean,
She's a nurse, by the way.
She's a nurse.
With those hours.
A nurse.
All she does is give.
Pretty much all she does is take care of people all day long.
Yeah.
And then comes home with 4 kids, the oldest being 9. So they lost their father, and it's devastating. And our boy Paulie, I will definitely get choked up here in a minute. But our boy Paulie took it upon himself to give. Where does he fall in the children? Is he the oldest?
He's the oldest. Yeah.
Okay, to take the oldest boy. Can I say his name?
Yeah. Dallas.
Dallas. Take the oldest boy, Dallas, and make a dream come true for him. And oh God, here we go. Paulie writes an email to our friend Carly that works with the Padres, kind of fills her in on the story and says, any chance I can bring him down to watch batting practice? No brainer.
Something that we get to do
all the time.
Pretty much anytime we want, but we've never really tried to bring friends or family.
Yeah, I've done it one time in 5 years, once.
This was the first time I did it.
Yep.
And I still even felt a little weird asking.
Yeah, it's weird, right? and so Paulie sets it up and brings Dallas down there. And I'll brag on a few other people, too, here in a minute. But what was was he just elated?
Dude, the look on his face, like walking out of the tunnel onto the field for the first time. He'd never stepped onto Petco Park. He is a diehard Padres fan. He knows every statistic and all of that. The look on his face said it all. He was a little speechless. He was a little shy. Don Arcillo walked by. He said, "Whoa, I've seen you on TV."
Hey, how you doing, young man? Nice to see you.
Right. And he just
Can I roll you up some fish?
And Mud's like, hey, do you want to see a YouTube vid real quick?
Right.
Come here. Have you seen this, SpongeBob? Kid's like,
But,
oh, boy.
dude, to experience that through his eyes, to see all of the big leaguers. I mean, we
Best
were
part of being a father, by the way.
15
That's it.
feet from the cage and just watching
Whack,
Manny and
whack.
Xander
Yep.
and Sanchez just roping the ball. And he goes, whoa. He goes, I bet they could hit it out of my little league field.
Yeah, they
I'm like,
could.
Yeah, I bet they probably could.
They absolutely could with one arm. One arm. And Paulie gets to hang down there on the field with him, and then up walks one Manuel Arturo Machado.
Well, I asked him beforehand. I said, who's your guy?
Yeah. Who do you want to meet?
Who's your one? Like, if you had one player to meet, Manny doesn't even hesitate. Loves Tatis. Loves Cronenworth. Loves Joe. But Manny's his guy.
Manny's his guy.
And we watched Manny's group was in the cages when we got down onto the field, and we got to watch for about 15 minutes, which was awesome. And he didn't really talk. He was just locked in, dude. And finally, Manny wraps up and starts walking over to the little corral of people that are sitting there for batting practice, and he starts signing some autographs, taking some pictures. And I go, get ready, dude.
He's coming.
You got a baseball?
He's coming.
You got a pen? All right, get ready. And he just lost his mind. And it was literally like less than 5 minutes after I asked him, like, who's the one guy you wanted to meet? And if you're watching here on YouTube, I got permission to post this picture, him and Manny, yesterday. It was so cool, man. It was so much fun.
So listen, we have to rip the Padres today. We do at some point. We are going to have to just tear them up.
Maybe even Manny.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
and they're it's well deserved.
Bread, meat, bread.
Yeah, bread, meat, bread. Here's the bread. The meat's coming later. More bread to follow. Manny comes over, takes a picture with him, and I am of the opinion that every kid on the planet that wants to should be able to have an experience like this. Yeah. Every kid should meet a big leaguer. I remember the first big leaguer I ever met was Dave Winfield. My dad took me to Yankee Stadium to meet Dave Winfield. We still have the picture hanging in his office. It changed my life. As weird as that sounds, in 6th grade, I met Dave Winfield, and it changed my life forever. And I've never forgotten it. I remember the smell. I remember the day when he dragged me out of school early to get on the train. I'll never forget it. Every kid should have that experience of meeting, saying hello to, shaking hands with a big leaguer. I mean, if those are their heroes, and that's every kid should have that experience. And I'm so glad, Paulie, that you did that. It's a very sweet and kind gesture. But this is the one. Now, these guys aren't probably going to like us telling this story, but I think we should do it anyway. They don't like the attention really, but I have to give a very heartfelt shout out to Jesse Agler and Tony Gwynn Jr.
Yes.
Both fathers, by the way. Oh, God. So Jesse comes down, and they're talking, and Paulie kind of gives him the scoop, and Jesse goes, when you're done down here, bring him up to the booth. I'll show him how things work. Brad, bring him in. Jesse gives him this freaking scorecard, dude. His scorecard, all of his game notes. Says, here, these are for you. Now, Dallas,
his favorite class is math.
Yep, he's way into the stats.
Loves the statistics, and he was even asking Jesse down on the field. He's like, how do you know so much about every team?
Right.
And Jesse goes, well, it's a lot of reading. It's a lot of work, learning every game, who's playing that day and something about them. And, the team, they send these game notes, and that helps for sure. So then we go up to the booth, half an hour later, and he shows him. He's like, hey, remember those game notes I was telling you about? Here you go. And we have a stack of them when you walk into the press box. But Jesse's got his own game notes, and he's got his own scorecard. And he gave both of those to Dallas, and Dallas clutched onto the game notes and the scorecard. He's like, I'm going to keep score tonight at the game. And he goes, I can't wait to put this on my wall, and just did not let those out of his hands. And he was so excited to read all the game notes. It was really fun, man. And like what you were alluding to with Tony and Jesse, we walked into the booth, and Jesse kind of let us in, and Tony was already sitting there, and I just stepped back. I didn't have to say or do anything. The only real way I can describe it is they went into dad mode. Oh. Now, those guys have tours that come through all the time, and I'm sure those tours are full of little kids all the time. But the way that they just dismissed me, and even Dallas's grandfather was with us, Papa, they just focused on Dallas and answered any question he had. They showed him how all the equipment works. He got to hang a star that Tony waves. And they were asking him questions, and it was so special. He really, really loved it.
It's incredible. Again, Jesse and Tony, thank you. Paulie, thanks for doing that. If there's a way we can help his mother at some point and the other kids, please let us know. If we need to set something up, do something in their honor, a benefit, anything we can do, please let us know. I like doing that stuff. Frankly, we don't do enough of it. But good on you, dude. You're a good egg for doing that. It's I thought about somebody doing it for me. So there's just for 3 hours, dude, 4 hours, that kid forgot about all the garbage that was going on, and was able to go have a day like that with his heroes. So, Paulie, that's so amazing of you, dude.
My flex about going to the trainer was okay, but Paulie wins the morning, so go ahead.
Well,
dude.
Thank
you, Paulie.
Thank you. And I didn't want to come in and look what I did. This was not about me whatsoever. And you're just when you get news like that, it's been almost 2 months now, I think, and Megan is still really hurting, and we can't even imagine how the family's doing now that their dad's not here. And you're just like, what can I do?
Yeah,
what can I do?
Just for a few hours, just to take his mind off of it.
You see the GoFundMe that pops up, and that's how nowadays when that happens. You're like, oh no. We gave what we could. And
sure.
You're like, I wish I had
$100,000
of that, but it still isn't really going to matter. Yeah, it might help with some costs of things, but it's not going to bring him back.
Man, thank you to Manny. Thank you to Carly. Thank you to Jesse and Tony. You guys are amazing.
Carly was such a rock star, dude. She came down with a backpack full of goodies for him, which I was totally unexpecting.
I saw the video I watched Tony and Jesse kind of bring him into their orbit. I mean, it melts your heart, dude. It's the sweetest thing. You think about if I left, somebody doing that for my kids, that's when I lost it, man. There's just no way. So, Paulie, good for you, dude. Like, that's amazing. Please let us know how we can help. I know there was a GoFundMe. I donated to that, but how do we share it? Do we need to share it again?
Yeah, I'll see if it's still open.
Dallas, you're a superstar, man. And just a great, great thing, Paulie. I'm very, very proud of you, proud to know you. That was excellent, excellent story. So, going to be difficult to shift gears now. And
That's all right.
Ditty.
I can transition into anything, and I'll say it's a good reminder that even though at times as we're watching baseball, it looks like they're a bunch of selfish, overpaid egomaniacs, and maybe sometimes some of them are.
Sure.
There's a lot of really good big leaguers out on the field, guys with big hearts who are using their influence, their fame, their talent to give back and help kids as well. And we've had the pleasure to meet a bunch of them.
I think it's important to note, like I didn't talk to the Padres like, hey, can you get Manny to come over? I didn't reach out to Manny and let him know what was going on. That's just what he does every game, by the way. He went down the line. There was probably 50 people, mostly kids, down there on the field watching batting practice, and he stopped for every single kid.
Yep.
And signed a baseball, and then he took a picture, and then he took another picture because somebody else wanted to get in, and like he does not have to do that, but he gets it.
We've had a chance to meet a lot of really good guys. Lucky doing this job. In fact, we bring a lot of them on, including two guests today. Adam Jones, former big leaguer, will be with us at 7:35, and the aforementioned Skip Schumaker will check in at 8:35, probably on his way down to the ballpark for the series finale. Day game today at 1:10 at Petco Park. Series rubber game, Padres and the Marlins. Speaking of Jesse, I did not hear how he worked the Incorporator word
Thanks for listening.
into the game yesterday.
All I'll say, I haven't actually even heard it yet. I gotta go pull it.
Yeah, I will
say
I was watching on TV last night and did not hear the radio call.
He texted me about it. He was very proud of it, and we even got a tweet. I don't have it pulled up, but it was something along the lines of, "Hey, at Ben and Woods, you guys need to just retire the Incorporator after this one."
What?
Wow.
Jesse just absolutely.
All right,
crushed
well,
it.
we'll make the next segment about the Daily Ditty, my pick on collaborations, and then Jesse's Incorporator, and then after that we'll get into last night's not fun 3-0 loss to the Marlins, which we do have a lot to discuss in that game as well.
I may cry again, actually.
I mean, a lot of people
didn't
didn't even realize what happened between Blake Snell and Jorge Soler during the game.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
None.
So we got a lot to talk about. Let's get rolling. A little behind. Let's get our first check of traffic, and then back with more Ben and Woods here on 97.3 The Fan.
I know one tier one out there that is very happy right now. Very. He lives in North Carolina. He's very happy. Jordan. It's his favorite band, Coldplay.
And the Chainsmokers.
And your least favorite band.
I don't not like Coldplay. I like.
You know what?
No.
You're right though.
Chainsmokers.
The Chode-smokers, yeah.
The Chainsmokers.
What did I say? Chainsmokers.
This is. I think you were right about Coldplay. The early stuff was really good. This was like the last good one that I liked, and since then I haven't really enjoyed as much. But I really did like this this collaboration. Something Just Like This by the Chainsmokers and Coldplay.
There you go.
Together from about a decade ago now. It's amazing how time flies.
It has been a while.
Yeah, it goes quickly. So collaborations week on our daily Ditty. We got a lot to get to on the show today, but I am dying now to hear our Incorporator from last night with Jesse Agler. We had the voice of the Padres on yesterday, and we gave him, I thought, one of the most fun words that he has had. The word was, do we have the setup?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the setup from yesterday.
1 second.
Paulie's going to call it up, but this was from our 8:30 segment yesterday with Jesse Agler. Now, I can't believe we've never done this, but Paulie looked it up.
Yeah, we looked through the computers.
And he said it has never come up before. Your word tonight is aglet, which I'm sure you know because it's your last name,
buddy.
but with
Aglet.
a T instead of an R. It's the if people don't know, it's the little plastic tube at the end of a shoelace,
A sheath.
that holds the end in tight so you can tie your shoes. Aglet.
And we
There
go.
it was.
Gonna get, this is nuts.
Okay.
Jesse Agler absolutely crushed this one. This was in the 6th inning last night, and if you listened to our last segment, this might hit home as well.
Want to go behind the scenes of America's #1 ballpark? Pregame tour is presented by Bubs at the Ballpark. Live fans with an intimate and exclusive view of the ballpark, and you can even watch Padres batting practice. Book your tour at Padres.com/tours. Met someone from a tour today. Here's Jazz Chisholm taking inside ball 1. There's a group of people, actually. One, a young man named Dallas, who was a great kid. It was wonderful to meet Dallas. And then kind of next to Dallas was this group of people who are huge Padre radio fans. 1-0, swing and a miss. 1-1 on Jazz Chisholm Jr. And the one guy was like, Jesse Aglet, I hear your highlights all the time on Coach Quintera's show. And I just gave him a big thumbs up. 1-1 is low, 2 balls and a strike. Very nice guy, very enthusiastic. Says he listens to me and Tony every night. He got your name right. 2-1 to Chisholm with 1 out, nobody on in the top of the 6th inning. Swing and a miss. 2-2.
Jesse Aglet.
Jesse Agler. Oh, my.
That is definitely the most unique way to ever work the Incorporator word
Holy crap,
into the game.
It's amazing.
No mention of shoelaces.
No, none whatsoever. Jesse
Guys,
Aglet, Padres radio. Holy cow, dude.
I was expecting Blake Snell calls time to reach down. He's tying his shoelaces, keeping the aglets from getting knotted.
Yeah.
Or something like was going to happen like that. But no, someone. Jesse Aglet, big fan.
Gave a shout out to Dallas,
Yeah.
too. Incredible. Incredible.
Jesse Aglet.
What a legend he is, man.
You
What a
might think
legend.
we actually planned the show.
I
like
know,
this
right?
To
Right.
orchestrate everything together. I promise you, we don't.
I know.
It just works out that way. I think we're just really, really lucky sometimes. But hey, it offsets the unluckiness we get from our baseball team almost every single night. And I mean, you can't blame luck simply for the continuing frustrations and inconsistencies of the Padres, who, turned in a pretty good pitching performance last night with 1 inning, the exception. We'll get into what happened in that inning coming up in our Padres wrap-up, but ultimately it was the lack of offense yet again that doomed the Padres. Looked like they built some momentum on Monday, all disappears on Tuesday. It's the story of the season, and we will discuss it with some Jesse Aglet highlights coming up next in our Padres wrap-up. Stick around for more Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
You just ruined my day. You literally just ruined my day.
Yeah, nice.
Ben.
He said it last night. We'll get into some of the comments. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by California Coast Credit Union. California Coast Credit Union here to make home buying easy, whether you're a first-time buyer or looking to refinance. CalCoast has a solution. Zero closing cost home loans available. Visit calcoastcu.org. Restrictions apply. Equal housing lender. Yeah, I had a lot of interesting comments from Blake Snell following his mostly, I thought, really good outing. He had 6 innings. 5 of them were outstanding, completely up to recent Blake Snell standards. One of them, of course, featured 5 hits, 4 in a row, a 433-foot bomb that apparently got him a little out of his mental headspace and ended up being the difference in a 3-0 loss to the Miami Marlins last night. For all the highlights, we'll get to our Padres Wrap-Up right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto Family, here's Kelly Danick.
Tell you what, guys, that North 805 is up to no good this morning. There was an earlier crash near the 15. Looks like that is gone. Up ahead near University, accident over the right shoulder. Then just up ahead at El Cajon Boulevard, crash was blocking the 3 left lanes. Looks like they might have moved that into the center divide. So, yeah, we are seeing huge backup out of the South Bay, North 805, all the way from the 54. Yeah, take that northbound side of the 5 instead. No incidents or accidents to report there. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's a shame if they lose.
You can visit Pity City, but you can't live there.
Oh, it's been a great day today. Can't wait for more.
Hey guys, it's Woodsy live from the Crapper again.
Did you miss any of the Padres game yesterday?
Cancel the parade. That's why you play the games.
Oh, God, here we go.
It's the Padres Wrap-Up with Ben and Woods.
Slam Diego? More like fail Diego.
Presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else. On 97.3 The Fan.
I just felt the way that the roster is built, they would have to outscore their opponents to win.
Here's the 3-2, and that's hit in the air to very deep center field. Grisham goes back. All he's going to be able to do is watch. This is a Soler shot to the base of the Ivy batter's eye here in center field. A long home run for Soler. 33rd of the year, and the Marlins have a 1-0 lead in the 3rd. Snell to look back at Arise. He's the lead runner. He takes off. The pitch is grounded to the left side. Backhanded in the hole by Bogarts. Long throw to first is high. It gets over Cooper. Arise will come home from 3rd to score. Bell ends up at 3rd base, and it's 2-0 Marlins here in the 3rd. 0-1 to Garcia. Sanchez sets an outside target. Snell delivers, and a slow tapper to the left of the mound. Blake lets it go. Kim's got it at 3rd base, fires to first in time to get Garcia, who comes up hurt. Bell will score from 3rd base. It's now 3-0 Miami, but that middle out is finally recorded here in the top of the 3rd inning. 1-0 the pitch, and Chisholm swings, hits it hard on the ground through the right side. A base hit, Berger rounding 3rd. He's on his way. Fernando comes up throwing. Sanchez has it, tags him, got it. Fernando Tatis Jr. picks up another one. And Jake Berger thrown out at the plate to end along top of the 3rd inning. 3-2 to Gurriel, and that is at the knees, strike 3 called. 8 strikeouts for Blake Snell. A 1-2-3 6th inning, and he caps it with a K. Now the 2-1. Little topper back towards the mound. Martinez has it, runs it halfway, underhand flip in time, and the side is retired. No runs, a hit, and error, and the Marlins leave them loaded. Robertson set on 1-2. The pitch to Machado swung on and popped up. Right side of the infield, Arise and Gurriel both there. It'll be the first baseman, Gurriel, squeezing it on the infield dirt, and the ball game is over. Jesus, Luzardo, and friends shut out the Padres 3-0.
Look, I mean, it's almost a surprise if he gives up a couple hard hit balls and a couple of runs. So 3 runs, we don't score any. Probably not his best outing, but pretty similar to the way he's been pitching here for a while.
You hear those boos at the end of the game from a sellout crowd again, and not that we haven't heard boos, and not that there hasn't been a ton of sellout crowds at Petco Park, but
freaking packed.
It was Ha-Sung Kim bobblehead night. I think fans were excited about one of the most anticipated giveaways of the season. coming off a very nice win on Monday, including a grand slam by the aforementioned Ha-Seong Kim. There was at least some hope and expectation from the crowd that something good might happen in that game. And they were unfortunately treated to a game that featured very little good for the San Diego Padres. A couple of nice defensive plays. You heard Fernando Tatis Jr. throwing out another runner at the plate.
Should have had another one.
Xander Bogaerts had a nice diving stop. But ultimately, when you look at the line score, Padres had as many errors as they did hits, 3 in the game last night. Now, one was on Tatis's throw where he should have backpicked the guy, wasn't scooped. That's a tough error. One of them was on a catcher's interference. Not even sure why those are counted as errors necessarily. They just have to be accounted for in the scorebook somehow. And then Xander making a throw over Garrett Cooper's head in the 3-run inning. That was costly, obviously, to the Padres, but not an easy play on the run. So I wouldn't say that the Padres were like sloppy defensively necessarily in that game. They made a lot of good plays. It was the offense that was once again the issue. 0 for 13, 7 strikeouts from the Big Four. Other than a couple of Tatis walks, it was a complete non-show-up performance from the same 4 guys that have really been scuffling here in the month of August.
Jesus Luzardo going into last night's game. Good pitcher, good stuff, as you saw last night. But previous 3 starts, 0-3 with an 11.68 ERA. He's given up 8 home runs with a whip of 235 last night. 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 7 Ks. And I tweeted that our motto this year is, we should all do it together. We are the San Diego Padres, and we'll get you back on track. It is ridiculous, repulsive, repugnant, embarrassing, pathetic. You've never seen a guy pitch this bad. The run that this guy's on is absolutely horrendous. He's going to be lucky to stick in the big leagues with his 8.94 ERA. Oh.
Well, slow down, Johnny. We got the Padres coming up this weekend.
7 innings, 1 hit, 14 Ks. It's asinine. It's got to stop.
Now, stuff-wise, it looked like it was pretty good last night from Luzardo.
It always pretty good.
He's got good stuff.
He
didn't just find 97.
It's hard to tell sometimes the difference between when is the offense struggling and when is the pitcher dealing.
Not with this team.
I think it is sometimes.
No, it's not.
I think there's clearly been days when the Padres have struggled offensively, and there are always some days where you're facing a pitcher who just happens to be nasty on that day.
I'm trying to remember the last guy that I just watched the game and went, oh yeah, he just shoved it. He just absolutely shoved it down our throats. I mean, Ben, you're talking about guys like Brandon Pfaadt. You're talking about guys that are coming in on really cold streaks.
I think those were days when the Padres really struggled badly offensively.
Who's the last?
I thought Jesus Luzardo pitched really well last night. I mean, just watching, I thought he was mixing his speeds really well.
Did he pitch well because we struck out 7 times and hit weak numbers?
I don't know. I didn't feel like I've seen games where it feels like the ball's right down the middle and the Padres can't hit it. I didn't see that last night. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have been able to put together some offense, but I don't think there were a bunch of teams that would have gone in and just destroyed Jesus Luzardo last night.
Well, there were, because the last 3 that he faced did it.
I didn't see those starts. I've got to imagine he pitched quite a bit worse than he did last night.
Against the 27 Yankees for 3 games in a row? Every other team figures these guys out.
You know that guys sometimes have good starts and sometimes have bad starts.
Okay. What I'm saying is we have hit guys in these horrendous skids. We have gotten so many pitchers back on track this season. So many. Seemingly no BS. No recency bias. Ben, would you agree it happens at least 2 times a week?
I'm just saying that I can't tell for sure what it is.
Well,
that's why baseball is a game of the long term. And I can tell I can tell by looking at the whole season that something is wrong with the offense. Yeah. That they should not have this level of inconsistency and problems. Every team, the Braves, are going to have a few nights where they get shut out by a mediocre pitcher who just has their number for some reason. Over 162, that's going to happen. And I can't tell whether last night was one of those nights or not. I can tell you by the totality, though, of the season that you can't just shrug off your offensive woes and say, oh, he just had our number every single time.
That can't happen.
That can't happen. And so absolutely there is a big problem. Whether whether last night was exactly part of it, I don't know for sure because I can't tell just watching from the outside whether guys are taking bad swings or whether the guy on the mound is making really good pitches.
Well, I mean, it's the big league, so you're going to have a little bit of both, right? You're going to have guys that make good pitches. You're going to have guys. Ryan Weathers is maybe the only guy we didn't let get on track, and I think it surprised a lot of people, and that should be an indication of how the season's gone. But I can't believe what you told me. I really can't believe what you told me. I didn't hear this.
So there was a number of issues last night with Blake Snell. First of all, let's start with the run, the home run. No, you want to start?
I don't care about that.
You don't care about the home run
at all. Guys give up home runs. Guys get pissed. They give up home runs. Happens all the time. Couldn't care less.
All right, he was
Couldn't
definitely
care less that he gave up
he
two
was
hits
upset with
after.
Jorge Soler for pimping his home run, and
this enrages me. I'm literally enraged.
So that inning continued. He gave up 4 consecutive hits. The last one being a dribbler to Xander Bogaerts that Bogaerts grabbed and threw over Garrett Cooper's head. It allowed a runner to score all the way from second, set up the third run to come in as well. Could have been out of the inning with just the one run, but Xander Bogaerts didn't make the play. Ultimately, though, the scorer ruled it not an error, but a hit and an error on Xander Bogaerts, and it changed those 3 runs from being 1 earned and 2 unearned to all 3 were earned runs against Blake Snell. And Blake, after the game, said he didn't agree with the official scorekeeper.
You had not had anything like that where, no matter the walks or whatever, you would shut it down right away. Was that the disappointing part of that inning, that you weren't able to shut it down?
No, I mean, I would have shut it down. I mean, I would say we made an error, and then the scorekeeper said those are earned runs when they're not. So we'll contest that. I would say the 2 batters after the home run, I let my emotions get the best of me, gave them good pitches to hit. After that, I controlled them, got them back into sync. Not perfect, I'm trying to be, can't have those little blow-ups. It's probably one of the first ones I've had in a long, long time. I've never been that upset, so just learn from it, get better, and don't give up runs by, being emotional, if you will.
You're not usually one to let those emotions linger.
I have an 84-year-old liver-spotted hand coming out of my chest through my shirt. My inner boomer's coming out he's worried about his ERA right now?
Sounds like it.
This team's in a mother effing free fall with a $250 million payroll, a superstar-laden team, and my man is worried about his ERA. Dude.
Are you telling me you wouldn't be at all?
I wouldn't give 2 S's, Ben.
You're about to be a free agent.
If you don't know that about me after 5 years,
you're in a
you don't know me.
battle for the ERA crown.
Paulie, would I give a rat's ass about an ERA crown? If this team was about to fall on its face yet again, I couldn't care less about personal accolades. None.
I certainly don't think you would say it out loud.
I mean, it happens all the time. The players
garbage,
challenge.
I think it's only natural to feel that somewhere inside of you.
Oh my God! It's
putting it out there.
It's symptomatic of the entire season.
It won't even change anything for Xander Bogaerts. He's getting an error regardless. It's just whether or not it should be a hidden error or just a straight error. So it doesn't change the outcome of the game or anything.
Dude. Oh my God!
You don't.
Listen again.
You don't like that he said it,
dude. Again. You can feel that way. You can absolutely feel that way. What you cannot do is be like, man, I hate that I got banged for 2 earned runs there. Like, you cannot say it. You just cannot say it. It's just symptomatic of this entire team this season, man. It's infuriating.
I agree with that. I thought it was an error when it was hit. And
I didn't care.
I was surprised that it was ruled a hit.
I just want to win. And that's what Blake should want, and Xander, and Manny, and
Blake
everyone else.
Bounced back after that and pitched 3 more really good innings and kept his team in it with a chance to come back and win the game.
I guess if I had to go glass half full in any sense, which I don't really want to do or like to do, there have been plenty of times where that would happen to Blake Snell, and it's all right. Here comes walk number 7. Here comes another home run. Like just melts down.
I have less. Than
I just think
zero.
it's unfair to make Blake Snell the problem in that game yesterday.
No, and I never did.
Okay.
I have less than zero problem with how he pitched. Less than zero. Your offense let you down again, Blake. They have let you down 1,000 times.
He was asked a question though about how he let that kind of inning get away from him.
No,
it looked like he defended himself and
you
goes,
can answer.
I don't think I was really the problem. I thought I pitched okay. I thought I got out of that jam. There was an error. Those probably should have been unearned runs.
Will contest those?
They do. I mean, they do after a lot of games where they.
I'm embarrassed.
Ask
dude.
the scorekeeper to review a ruling.
I'm sorry, man. I'd be embarrassed. It reminds me of a catcher that used to play here, and this season was going down the absolute crapper and was out campaigning for a Gold Glove. You can think all day that you deserve a Gold Glove. In my mind, I'm a Marconi winning radio host. I'll probably never win one. But what you won't hear me doing is if my station's going down the crapper, getting on air and be like, but I'm really good. I had a great show. Why can't I win a Marconi? It's just symptomatic of the entire season. I don't know that I've been this mad all year. That's unacceptable. You know what your answer is? Doesn't matter. We lost again in another game that we had to win. That's the only thing that matters. If you guys want to ask me about winning and losing, do that. I don't care what my ERA is. I don't care if I'm in the Cy Young hunt. I want to win. I want to win a championship for San Diego. I want to win a title. I want to drink beer on a float going down Market Street. That's all I care about.
I think some of the chat is
God
interesting.
Bless, dude.
Woods is right, per usual.
I'm sick.
What a joke. Blake knows the season is over, so he's worried about the ERA. I get it. I agree with Blake. I would worry about my ERA. When the offense scores 0, the scorekeeper was wrong. If they were in it, he probably wouldn't be as worried about it.
He's right to think it. It's not right to say it.
You have often praised Blake Snell, though, for his unfiltered honesty. And he doesn't play the game. He just tells you exactly what he was thinking after the game. He's very honest about that. And you acknowledge that probably most pitchers would the thought would cross their mind. Hey, I got a weak ground ball. I thought I was going to be out of that inning. We didn't make the play. That's an error, and those probably shouldn't even be earned runs against me. Everyone would think that.
Roy says Blake knows this season is toast. He's about to get paid. Every earned run could mean money against him. What do I care? What do I care?
You don't have to care.
I don't care about his
but
bag.
I understand why Blake cares.
What's the guy going to be like, hey, you had that one little blow up.
Well, I mean, he's
right
right now
banged
he's right now 2.73.
God.
Justin Steele's at 2.8 for the ERA crown.
Oh man, I can't wait to hang the ERA crown.
You know how
banner.
Agents will sell the free agency. Here's what he's
dude.
done.
There's no way to defend this.
He was
None.
the ERA leader
There's
last
no way
year.
to defend
That's
this.
how they
None.
drive up the price.
There's
in the
no way.
offseason.
What do I care what he makes in the offseason?
Right,
How's that benefit me?
Continue this discussion in 2 minutes here on 97.3 The Fan. Woodsy is fired up
hate
about
that, man.
Blake
I haven't
Snell's
seen you this
comments
mad
after
in
the
a
game.
while.
Well, Chemo in the chat says, this is the angriest Woods has been all year. Have you seen our dead bats? I'm pretty sure Blake ain't the problem. I didn't say he was the problem. I'm not saying, oh, God, once this team is going to roll, once you get Blake out of here. I love Blake. I've been one of his only defenders. I took him, Paul, you remember a couple years ago? Getting worked for defending Blake Snell?
Oh, yeah.
Getting worked by people. And I absolutely, I love the dude. I do. I'd love to have him on. We haven't had him on in like 2 years. No, he's never coming on. But it's the things that you can think,
Blake,
but
I
you
still
don't.
love you.
Yeah, it's the things you can think, but you don't say. Bro, there are things like I can go home and tell my wife things that I don't get on the air, and we're like, you know what? I sure wish Adam would have done this. I mean, sometimes I do with Adam.
The way
but-
you handle that is you privately tell one of the clubhouse guys, and they will go and have a conversation and try to convince the official scorer to change the ruling from a hit to an error after the game, and they will retroactively, if they do, change those stats. And no one needs to know about it or hear about it. It's the way those are generally handled in
I'm
Major
sorry,
League Baseball.
and if I'm out of line, I'm out of line. But I don't feel like I am, because at the end of the day, like hanging a Blake Snell ERA champion banner doesn't do anything for me. Nor, I'd love to see Fernando win a Gold Glove, but you know what I don't want to see? Fernando in the media saying, I deserve a Gold Glove.
Fernando could have said after the game, he could have said, I got charged with an error last night when I actually made a spectacular back pick throw, one hop to Garrett Cooper, who couldn't pick a fairly clean one hop throw that I was trying to make, and then I get charged with the error when the runner advances a base. Could have said that. Would have been a really bad look, though, to say that after the game.
Again, sitting there after another must-win game, and that's what you're worried about. And look, we got people. Satan's Blowfish is crushing me right now in the chat. Blake being selfish is the dumbest effing take. Has he performed? Yes. That's all that matters. How about the lineup carry their weight? Both things can be true. The lineup sucks. Do you want me to also say the lineup sucks and is selfish and not performing? I'm right on that count. But to worry about your ER-effing-A after yet another embarrassing loss is embarrassing. We had just started as a show. We'd been on the air for a couple of months when our old owner, Ron Fowler, came on our show, and he lit up, I'll just say it, he lit up Austin Hedges. He lit him up on the air, and he said, our team is in shambles. We're circling the drain. And I've got my catcher out there campaigning for a Gold Glove. That stuck with me there because it's just not a good look. It's not about personal accolades. It's not about personal achievements. Go play golf. Then you can be like, I can't believe they charged me a drop on that. That's fine. That's absolutely fine to do. But when there's 9 guys and everyone's worried about their ERAs or their batting averages or the stolen base, I'm a guy that pulls for these guys to get all their numbers so they can get all their money. You just don't say it. It's just a dumb thing to say. And that's fine. I say dumb stuff all the time. But man, the team has to come before anything. I thought that's why we all like sports. The team, the city, the name on your front. I thought that's why we're all in this.
Well, that's
why I play sports.
Coincidentally, this segment of Ben and Woods is brought to you by the Golf Mart. So if they want to load up and become golfers, they know where they can get all their supplies at the Golf Mart, and then they can worry about individual, putting numbers and chipping numbers and fairways hit and greens and regulation.
I'm sorry,
all about the individual numbers.
I did not know that was said last night, and then Ben told me. I'm like, no, that can't be right. I can't be right.
You misheard him.
I must have misheard.
No, it was said last night. We need a contestant for Take on Woods. 833-288-0973.
It's a good day to get me.
Yeah, he seems to be a little, just
flustered.
like Blake in the third inning. Woods is a little out of sorts, so maybe you can take him down and qualify for our getaway to Las Vegas. Musical trivia in just a couple of minutes. 833-288-0973. There was also another odd incident that a lot of people weren't sure what was going on involving Blake Snell. I think it was the next inning. He went back out for warm-ups.
Oh, this was wild.
And was charged with taking too long, like half a second too long. And the home plate umpire charged him a ball before the inning started, and Blake was upset about that and went and started arguing with the umpire. Bob Melvin came out and argued. Blake's argument was he had thrown a warm-up pitch in the dirt, and he needed a new baseball. You replace the baseball when it gets scuffed up. But the umpire was talking with Skip Schumaker and didn't see it and wouldn't give him the baseball to throw his last warm-up toss. So when he finally did, he said, "You're done," or "It's your last pitch," and Blake threw an extra one, and when he did, he got banged for it. Now, this is part of the pace of play initiative for Major League Baseball. Umpires have been told we have to very strictly enforce the time between innings, the time for warm-up pitches, the time a batter gets to walk up to home plate, in addition to the 20 and 15-second pitch clocks. However, Blake missed the deadline literally by like a quarter of a second. And ended up, I timed it on the DVR, 2 minutes and 15 seconds the argument took about said warm-up pitch that delayed the game when it didn't have to. There has to be some bit of common sense and discretion for umpires. Hey, my bad, I didn't get you a ball for 10 seconds. Yeah. I'm not gonna punish you when you're half a second late on your last warm-up pitch.
We've talked a lot about the clock and everything else and how it really has eliminated any common sense or like feel for the moment. And again, Blake's not looking for any sort of advantage there. He just, I threw one in the dirt. I need a fresh one back. Let me get one more warm-up pitch in. I got to win. I got an ERA title to win, and I need a fresh ball.
And he got the out on the first pitch after that, so it didn't make a difference. But you can tell that the umpires were given some sort of speech by their bosses, by Major League Baseball before the season, going, "You are going to be evaluated incredibly strictly on this pace of play initiative. So you are expected to enforce it to the absolute letter of the law with no exceptions. The 8 seconds batters must be ready, the 15-second pitch clock." The number of times we've seen the umpire, when a pitcher starts, hit zero and he's just about to go into his windup, and you stop the game and say, "No, ball one, you didn't get it in time." It's like, is that making the game faster or slower? Because it's really making the game slower. But they're afraid that they're going to get dinged in their evaluation, that their bosses have said, "Hey, you don't enforce this, it's going to go against you in your record," or whatever they do for the umpires. So they have been almost stubborn in their enforcement of it. Like, all right, we're going to make this look as bad as possible because you've told us to do this.
Well, and maybe because they also know baseball players are going to, if they did, it's like they'll give baseball players an inch, and you know what they'll take. They'll take a mile. So it's like your kids. You have to, there's times when you have to be a little bit lax and things like that, but if you continue to be lax, they're going to exploit it. So I'm on Blake's side on this one. That makes sense to me. You do need to have a feel for the game and the pace of the game if you're the umpire, but yeah, the whole argument took way longer than it would have just flipping the ball and go.
Ironically, the argument took as long as the ensuing inning.
You timed it.
As it took exactly about 2 minutes and 15 seconds for the argument and 2 minutes and 15 seconds for Blake to get 3 quick outs and get back to the dugout at the end of the inning. So it was just another weird moment in last night's game that had no impact on the outcome. It was really, once again, the offensive struggles that had the impact on the outcome, and we'll talk more about those, obviously. Coming up, there's clearly, to me, in my mind, something wrong with the Padres offense. I can't tell you that it's the philosophy. A lot of people say it's the hitting philosophy of the team. I don't know that it is. And I don't know that it's, lack of effort. A lot of people say, oh, they don't try hard enough. I don't know that that's what it is, but there is clearly something that needs to be reevaluated when it comes to this team offensively. We'll talk about that coming up. Right now, though, I see some contestants calling in. Let's get to today's game of Take on Woods. All right, I got Steve ready to try his luck this month. Good morning, Steve. How are you?
Good morning. How are you doing?
Good. I always enjoy these Steve versus Steven battles. Steven Woods has left the studio, so give you a chance to qualify for the getaway to the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. The tickets to Kool and the Gang, you can get your own at Ticketmaster.com. Check out the $70 million in room renovations at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. Legendary Vegas fun. 5 questions head-to-head. Here is your category, your choices at least. We got Will Wonders Never Cease, wonder the key word. Born Again, song titles that begin with the word born. And Enough is Enough is our new category. 5 song titles, yes, that include the word enough, Steve. So, Will Wonders Never Cease, Born Again, or Enough is Enough? What's it going to be?
Let's try Born Again. Why
Born
not?
Again. All right, Born Again. Today we've got 5 song titles that all begin with the word born. They start pretty easy, then they get tougher. I'll just give you that. Y'all have 60 seconds.
Okay.
If you don't know an answer, say pass. We can come to it if there's time left on the clock back at the end. First question is our 2-second song. Paulie's going to give you a well-known hit. You need to give me the title and the artist to score that point. We'll go from there. Steve, you know how to play. You ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right, Born Again is the category. 60 seconds on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Steve, let's take on Woods.
Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA.
Correct. After appearing in the 1969 film Easy Rider, which Steppenwolf song became closely associated with biker culture?
Born to be Wild.
Correct. California's John Fogerty hadn't spent any time in the swamps of the South when he wrote which CCR hit that debuted as the B-side to Proud Mary?
Born on the Bayou.
Correct. Earlier this year, Rolling Stone named which 2011 Lady Gaga hit the most inspirational LGBTQ song of all time?
Pass.
Which 2010 pro-liberty Kid Rock song has been used everywhere from Chevrolet commercials to Mitt Romney's presidential campaign?
Oh, wow.
Told you they got tougher.
Born in America? Is that what it is?
It's not. Earlier this year, Rolling Stone named which 2011 Lady Gaga hit the most inspirational LGBTQ song of all time. That one is Born This Way. Born Free was the Kid Rock song. You'd recognize it if you. It was Born Free. It's like those Chevy commercials. Born Free. And you're driving a Chevy around in a truck.
Yeah,
You got the other 3, though. Born in the USA, Born to be Wild, Born on the Bayou. All right, 3 is the score for Steve. Let's bring the other Steve back in, Mr. Woods. Hang on the line, Steve. All right, Steve's score is locked in. Woodsy goes in without any knowledge of the category. It's the handicap on this game. 60 seconds on the clock. Time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Steve.
Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen.
Correct. After appearing in the 1969 film Easy Rider, which Steppenwolf song became closely associated with biker
Born to
culture.
be Wild.
Correct. California's John Fogerty hadn't spent any time in the swamps of the South when he wrote which CCR hit that debuted as the B-side.
Born on the Bayou.
Correct. Earlier this year, Rolling Stone named which 2011 Lady Gaga hit the most inspirational LGBTQ song of all time.
Born This Way.
Correct. Which 2010 pro-liberty Kid Rock song has been used everywhere from Chevy commercials to Mitt Romney's presidential campaign?
What's a Born song by Kid Rock? Born Free. Born Free.
Very good. Woods pulls it out in a 5-3 win over Steve today. Steve, thanks for playing. Woods has a good week going, though. I don't know. Have you missed anything this week? I feel like it's been maybe a
I don't know.
perfect
I don't
week.
keep track of personal
Stats, personal
Nope,
accolades. You just want a team victory at the end.
Yeah, I just worry about wins. That's it.
We got the W today and take on Woods. All right, we've got Don't Do This coming up next, including a very impressive Do This debut for one much-hyped Padres minor leaguer who just got promoted.
Watch that entire AB of his last night.
Yeah, it's more than just a result. That's good. We'll talk about it.
I was told he wasn't ready.
I mean, egg on our faces again, right? Holy cow.
Get to that coming up next with Ben and Woods. Don't forget, all guests appear on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall, Chevrolet
Did you have a
Finding
little
Roads.
short there?
I did.
Unplug you and plug
I
you back
started
in?
thinking of the Chevy commercial from the Born Free and then Chevrolet. And let's just check traffic when all those Chevys out on the road right now with Kelly Danick. Do you know you can hear Padres games on your smart speaker? Just tell your device to play 97.3 The Fan. You can hear things like the Incorporator and Jesse Agler working the word aglet.
Jesse Aglet.
Aglet into the game last night. All right, I'll start Don't Do This with a case of industrial espionage.
Ooh.
As it were.
I love that word.
I know, I do too.
Espionage.
It's a great word. In this case, it's actually something fairly simple. So the New York Knicks, like their video coordinator, video guy, was being pursued by the Toronto Raptors for a similar job. Happens a lot in professional sports. Hey, heard good things. We need to fill a spot. We'd like you to work for us. But while this process was going on, went a little bit too far. The Knicks are alleging that their employee, Ichechukwu Azotam, who worked for the Knicks from 2020 to 2023, sent the Raptors thousands of confidential files, including their play frequency reports, a prep book for the 2022-2023 season, video scouting files, opposition research, and more after the Raptors had begun recruiting him to join their organization in the summer of 2023. I mean, obviously you can't do that. There are confidentiality agreements in place. Even if there weren't, I mean, it's just clearly unethical to take the information of one organization and give it to someone else,
I would say
in the process of being interviewed or pursued by that organization. So the Knicks have filed a lawsuit this week against the Toronto Raptors and the former employee, which you don't see a lot in pro sports, like one team suing another team in the same league.
What type of things did he take over?
So it was like proprietary statistical information, play frequency reports, a prep book, some video files, some opposition research. Like,
probably
here's
stuff they all have.
Here's what we say about your team, like what we're scouting report is on your team, and now you kind of know what the Knicks are focused in on. So you can see why that would be helpful to a team like the Toronto Raptors.
Absolutely, man. This was a tragic story. It happened right when we got off the air yesterday. Did you hear about the Tennessee Titans player Caleb Farley?
God.
His home exploded. He's a defensive back. Left one person dead. It has been updated late or early this morning. His father, Robert Farley, was the one who was killed inside the home. Explosion, a multi-million-dollar property. He had just purchased it recently. Pretty scary story. Again, the father passed away. Another was transported to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. He was not a victim, obviously, Farley. But the focus is on around the home's natural gas lines. So something went... I mean, think about that for a minute. Like, that could happen to anybody. I mean, like, really, it could happen to anybody. It's just
it's very
terrifying.
rare, but I remember a case up in the Bay Area recently, like 2 or 3 homes, like in a block, just exploded because of a gas leak.
Holy cow, dude!
If you smell gas, get out.
Yes,
just, obviously it's rare, but
and make a phone call.
They put that odor into the natural gas. And natural gas doesn't. I don't think it has a smell, but they add that just to make sure, like, if you have a gas leak and you smell that quote unquote gas smell, get out, because it's a ticking time bomb at that point. I'm
super paranoid about it. Actually, it's one of those things where I'm constantly like, do we leave? You smell something? We don't cook much, so it's never, really an issue.
Have you ever gone on a trip and tried to remember, did we leave the oven on or something like that?
Yeah, it just, you're done. The whole trip, your whole trip is ruined.
Now you have like 19 cameras around your house. You can probably look and see everything like that.
Did we leave the door? Did I leave the garage door open? Yeah, all of those terrifying things.
It's stuff that I rarely ever do. I don't leave the house with the front door open, but once you put it in your brain and you've been on the road for 20 minutes, you're like, I got to turn around.
The other day,
I'm screwed. I got to turn around.
We were doing something, and we all matriculated outside. The whole family, me, Hannah, Bo, and Taylor, were playing ball in the streets. We were outside for like a good, solid, I'd say like 25 to 30 minutes. And I walked back in the door. Our refrigerator door was wide open. I think Taylor opened the fridge to grab something and just left it wide open. I was like, what in the world? But yeah, I mean, especially with little kids around. Bro, you don't know. Taylor left. He likes to turn the water on and walk away. Hannah walked in the other day. The bathroom's like flooded with water because he likes to turn the water on and leave it. So Be careful out there. If you smell gas, like Ben said, make a phone call, evacuate, all that. But a very, very sad story.
And call 811 before you dig as well.
Yeah,
because you don't want to hit a natural gas line of some sort. All right, little do this involving the Padres minor leaguers.
DD mega doo-doo.
After a bunch of promotions, including a somewhat controversial promotion of 17-year-old Ethan Salas all the way to Double-A, kid made his debut with the Missions last night, made his first start. He's 0 for 3 in his first 3 at-bats, but it's the fourth at-bat where everything changed. Came up in the bottom of the ninth inning with runners on and a chance to win it for the Missions. Here's what happened.
The 3-2 pitch, drive to right field and deep, going back in the ball. Castillo still going back. That ball's over his head, going to the wall. Rolling third and hitting on Monterella. He scores the winning run. The Missions win the ball game. The Missions win the ball game by a score of 8-7 as the 17-year-old Ethan Salas with the outfield shallow hits a shot over the wall.
All right, that's a pretty good first night in Double-A. As a 17-year-old to have the walk-off double off the wall in your debut. And I see the picture. I saw the highlight. I mean, that's very cool for Ethan Salas. Every single player they promoted, I think, had a hit in that first game as well. It doesn't mean that that's going to happen every single day, but a good confidence builder for Ethan Salas and some of those other guys in their Double-A debut last night for the Missions.
And even more impressive was the AB. I believe it was a 7-pitch at bat, Ben. It took a nasty splitter for a strike or for a ball. Took an outside fastball, swung through a changeup, and then sat back in just a beautiful, beautiful natural swing and gets the win, the walk-off, which is just insane.
It does show you can disagree with the decision to promote him still. I don't have a problem with that. Well, only time will tell if it's the right call. But what the Padres want him to do is face pitchers who are going to give him tougher at-bats. If they feel like he doesn't need the confidence of beating up on pitchers who are, trying to figure it out and throwing stuff down the middle, they want him to face more advanced pitchers who are going to make him think up there, who are going to, make challenging at-bats for him. And they feel like even if he struggles, that's better for him than just going and raking against a bunch of guys that, honestly, he may already be more advanced than, even though he's 17 years old. So we'll see how it works out, but it's certainly a great start last night.
The fact that it's baseball, he could go on a 12 for 16 streak. He could also go on an 0 for 20, and you just never know.
And it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing if
Correct.
he goes 0 for 20. If he's learning stuff while he goes 0 for 20, that's really the point of the minor leagues.
Well, and I saw more than one person point out this is this is where the Padres really like their development most is at that level. That's where they feel like the best development comes at the Double-A level. So why wouldn't you want to have him with the best? I don't know much, Ben, about options and things like that as far as what that does to the long term. One thing we do know about the Padres organization, if they feel you're ready for a promotion, you will get promoted regardless of service time. They've been great about that, and I think they'll continue to do so with him. But what a beautiful AB he put together. If you haven't seen it, it's out there on the internet. You can go find it. It's a really, really nice AB, and clearly just nothing seems too big for this kid right now, which is just great.
And that is Don't and Do This for a Wednesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, I always look forward to our weekly conversations with the 5-time All-Star Adam Jones, Morse High School, San Diego native. Had a lot of Baltimore Orioles news lately that he's been very qualified to comment on, including a Don't Do This from earlier this week involving John Angelos, their owner, comments he made about not keeping their young, exciting, and talented core together because, it's just going to be too expensive. We can't do that.
I'll show you the books.
Can't do that. We'll make Adam tiptoe through another minefield when we come back here with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hey, good morning, guys. It is Woodsy. If you
This hour on 97.3, The Fan is brought to you by the San Diego Automotive Museum's new exhibit, A Trip Down Whiskey Road. The San Diego Automotive Museum's new exhibit, A Trip Down the Whiskey Road, opens August 31st. Explore the origins between moonshine, NASCAR, and heavily modified whiskey running cars that inspired modern muscle cars. Go to sdautomuseum.org for information. That's a new one. All right, Adam Jones is standing by. Always enjoy our weekly conversations. We'll get to that right after a check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
Okay, you folks on the North 805, you need to stop the madness. We've had numerous crashes. Now a new one right before Telegraph Canyon Road. Looks like that is in the fast lane. Then just up ahead, right before the 54, another crash. This one is in the center divide. Accident near Home Avenue in the clearing stage. Over to the right shoulder. Cleared an accident near University, and they got that one out of the left lanes at El Cajon Boulevard. Unfortunately, it's just a mess. And guess what? Northbound side of the 5, although no incidents or accidents to report, it's almost as bad because folks are jumping over the back as an alternate. So give yourself plenty of extra time if you got to head out of the South Bay this morning. Now, fortunately, no other real hot spots to deal with at this time except, well, southbound 15 before the 76. We have reports of a vehicle fire over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So I hate to throw him right into the fire here, but we need Adam Jones, our guest, to weigh in on a disagreement, a little debate between Woods and I this morning regarding Blake Snell's post-game comments
Woods
yesterday.
Is getting crushed
I'm
today.
getting killed.
So-
Hey, listen, I'm fine to wear it. I'm probably wrong, but that's just how
So,
I
Adam,
felt.
let me get you caught up because not everyone saw this. So last night, Blake gave up 3 runs in 6 innings. They all came in the third, gave up a big home run to Jorge Soler. Obviously, that one's earned. But then there were
Big one.
there were a couple of hits, and there was one infield nubber that Xander threw away, but it was ruled an infield single and an error rather than just a straight error. And it was the difference between 3 earned runs against Blake Snell, who, by the way, is in a tight race for the ERA title in the National League this year, or 1 earned run. So he got 3 earned runs, and in the course of his post-game comments, wasn't the first thing he said, but he happened to mention disagreement with the scorekeeper, felt like should have only been 1 earned run and thought he made a mistake, and they're going to lodge a protest on that. Woods feels like, hey, that's a really bad look to say that out loud after a loss. Like you're only caring about your individual stats.
Not only caring, but to even
too much caring about it.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, it happens every game. Players will always challenge it.
You want your numbers. My whole thing is, and Adam, you know this, and everybody listening knows this, I'm a player advocate. I don't ride on the side of the owner. I don't ride on the side of the GM. I ride on the side of the players. Get your money, get your bag, get your personal accolades. I guess my problem was after another loss in a must-win game, I'm like, man, I think the last thing for me personally I'd be worried about is my ERA. Am I wrong?
There's lots to unravel.
Yeah.
Usually those are kept quiet. You talk to the manager or the public relations person, or your agent. I think now that's the protocol is you go through your agent to get anything changed now. Snell, veteran dude, I didn't hear the interview, but it just sounds weird coming from him because usually he's just like, hey, I should have made that pitch because, he never ever makes excuses for things. Usually when you hear about things like that, you don't hear about them because it goes behind the scenes. But there's been plenty of times where me personally have had issues with the scorekeepers at home in Baltimore where I'm like, hey, that was a tough play. He made a really tough play and I beat it out or he bobbled it at first. Give me the knock. I'm at home. Yeah. And I'll be looking up there just staring what is going on with you? Because you would think that the home crowd, the home team would do it. I remember in Boston, Lester is great. Lester should be in the Hall of Fame. But in Boston, he was very, very good, particularly well. And then Pedroia would have a hell of a lot of errors at home. And you'd be like, hold on, Pedroia is a fantastic defender. Why does he have 14 errors? And you're like, oh, yeah, that's because, they're going to save that ERA and get the error rather than the earned runs. And you would expect the home guy to be a little favorable. But nowadays, everybody just be like, they're not even from home, not even from there. The scorekeeper's probably not even from San Diego to where he's going to give the home field advantage.
Well, There's a whole thing going on in Major League Baseball right now, and the conspiracy is they want to get those offensive numbers up to make it look, hey, these rule changes are great, and it's adding more offense. They said there's been fewer errors called this season than any season in Major League history, which makes sense. You know, you change the errors, you want to pump up the offensive numbers. It makes sense. Listen, Blake Snell just happened to catch the fire this morning because again, I'm angry about yet another loss in a game that you had to win. Certainly not his fault. He pitched well enough to win that game. Hard to win with 0 runs. The offense is under indictment as well. AJ, it's just I just didn't think it was a very good look, man.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't mind that. I still don't mind it. It was a quality start from him. He did his part, like you said. But, tip the catch of Luzardo. That young dude is nasty, too,
He's
man.
nasty.
The Marlins are good, and this ain't a good team for the Padres to face either, because I don't know if who's throwing tomorrow or today.
Sandy today, yeah.
Today, yeah.
Exactly. So you follow all these guys. They got really, really good pitching. And, again, these are games you got to scratch and claw and try and get him out the game. But they got a good pitching, and Luzardo was on his stuff last night. So you got to tip your cap. But again, these cap tippings need to stop because we only got 30-some games left.
Yeah, we tip our cap a lot, it feels like.
Damn it, Josh Bell is on fire, man.
Yeah, he is.
Where was Josh Bell last year, man? Where was he at?
It's a great question. We would love to know the answer to that.
We're missing that Josh Bell
part of
last year. We could have used him down the stretch for sure. Adam Jones is with us on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. And AJ, as you said, you can tip your cap to a pitcher. And I think Jesus Luzardo was pretty good. But ultimately, the Padres, we have enough sample size. We've seen enough to know there's something just fundamentally wrong with this year's team. And I don't want to blame anyone individually, but what stands out is the inability to come back from deficits. They have only 6 come from behind, multiple run wins all year long. They have the worst batting average when trailing in baseball this season at .211. We've talked a little bit about it. I mean, just, pressing, things that could contribute to that. But how can a team that does so well when they're front running, when they get a lead and they add on and the run differential looks great, how can they be so bad when they're down 3-0 or when they're down 4-2, where it feels like there's no chance? There's no chance that they can come back and win these games.
It's the pressure you put on yourself, really. It's easy to win. Like Jordan always says, it's easy to talk crap when you're ahead, talk crap when you're down. And, no matter who you are, it's always easy when you're on top. It's always tough when you're on the bottom. They just got to, do what they do best as professionals and figure it out. That's the only way you're gonna get it done is to figure it out, because at the major league level, there's no excuses. No one cares about your excuses. You're not allowed to have excuses. So you just got to get the job done, because if not, that's all we're going to talk about. We're not going to talk about how nice of a guy you are. None of that. The job has to be done. And right now, they're not, as you would say, as everybody would say, if you look at their roster, they're one of the best rosters, top to bottom, in all of baseball. Don't exclude the money. There's other rosters that are very good and not about the money, but they're just a very good team individually. Right now, this year, they're just not playing in sync. And that could be added pressure from last year's success. It could be a multitude of things, but as like I said, the major leagues is about production and what your win-loss record is. It's not about how pretty you look in a uniform, how much money you spend. It's about the wins and losses. And same thing is going on with the Mets. It's like, we spend all this money and we're not getting the results, but at the same time, they understand that you just can't spend money and say this is how we're going to build a team. You got to build a team the correct way, and I think they did. It's just not working out in year one of this, because you have this core for a very, very long time. So I'm not shy, or like if next year's the year, I'm perfectly okay with that.
Sure. I mean, that's pretty much all we have at this point. Talking to our pal Adam Jones here on Ben and Woods this morning. Get away from the Padres for a minute, mercifully, and go to your other team, the Baltimore Orioles. I wanted to get your thoughts on what the owner came out and said, John Angelos, and we've been wanting to talk to Peter Seidler and hear from him about his thoughts on this season. But then again, I thought, well, maybe it's not a bad thing to wait till the end of the year, because I really thought John Angelos, if I'm Adley Rutschman, if I'm Gunnar Henderson, if I'm one of those young studs there in Baltimore, I'm like, Interesting. I'm out here grinding every single day, and our owner's talking about, I probably can't pay these guys after it's all said and done. What were your thoughts on what he said?
Well, I think the best thing is the players are playing baseball and not worried about anything outside of baseball. They are concentrating between the lines, which is the best thing that they can do. And the best part about it is that there's such a young organization to where, they don't have too many veterans that came through the organization that can sound off. Mullins can sound off a little bit, but he has 5 years. There's no 8 to 10 years guys.
Yeah.
I remember when I first got to Baltimore, our payroll was, I believe, like 60 something million, I believe. And we took it all the way to 155. I believe that was like 2014 or 15, something like that. And that's because if you want to keep your talent, if you want to keep your core, you're going to have to pay your core, and they're going to all reach arbitration at the same year, which a lot of us were in arbitrations during the same years. So that's going to drive up the price. You got to keep your core together. You have such a great one. I always say, stay behind the scenes and just let the players on the field do the talking for the whole organization, because that at the end of the day, that's all anybody cares about is what the team on the field is doing. And right now it's just taking attention away from what's going on between the lines, because the Orioles right now are playing amazing baseball, and that should be talked about more. Brandon Hyde should easily run away with the AL Manager of the Year.
No question.
There's just so many great things. You got Elias with the Executive of the Year. Like, there's so many great things, and that should be the most talked about as them being the story of the year rather than anything that the Angeloses are talking about. And I love the guys. They've been great to me, but it just overshadows what's going on between the lines, because that's true story right now when it comes to the Orioles.
Talking to Adam Jones here on Ben and Woods. And other American League news yesterday, the White Sox cleaning house in the front office with both Ken Williams, Rick Hahn getting fired. We've heard stories about how bad the culture has become in Chicago, and it's pretty much a disaster right now. However, I don't think, Ken Williams forgot baseball. He put together a World Series winning team when he was early in his tenure there in 2005. What was it? And they made some playoff runs. So, clearly, guys don't get dumb as they go on in their careers. What do you kind of see going on there? And at what point does it become time to blame the uppity, the highest level of your front office for years?
Where do I start with there? It's just time. It's just time. Nothing against Mr. Williams and Mr. Hahn. They're, again, great execs. The reason why you say the longevity that they had. They have been working with one of the longest standing owners with Mr. Reinsdorf. So tip your cap to their longevity. It's just time. I think that is. And you need fresh blood. It's been a while. The White Sox again had World Series aspirations just 2 years ago, even last year. And, we were talking about them in the Central, and they just have, underachieved on the field as they will admit. And it's just time. Guys have been there for 20 plus years. And, sometimes it's just time to go and get fresh blood in there. They got a fresh manager with Grifol. Now it's just time to get fresh administration. And, those guys got pensions, so I don't feel too sorry for them. So, they're gonna find another way. Kenny Williams is one of the best baseball minds out there. He's gonna find an advisory role emeritus somewhere. Rick Hahn will be some senior advisor somewhere within the organization. So, it's just time for them to go to another organization and get some new blood over there and on the South Side.
By the way, how does that pension plan work for baseball players? Because most of us normal people, Adam, they don't do pensions anymore at our jobs. But I've understand that's always one of the nice perks for having enough longevity in baseball, the pension program.
If you are fortunate enough to play 10 plus years, well, 10 years is the mark. 15 years doesn't pay anymore. But if you're able to play 10 plus years, you are invested into the vested into the full pension plan, and you get the maximum of the pension allows. Again, if you have 9 years, you get a sizable amount, 8 and so forth, but 10 is the creme de la creme, and it's significantly more. And it's bragging rights. I got 10 in the show. What do you got? Oh, I got 9 in one thing. Oh, you got 9. Oh, you don't got the 10.
And it's like a monthly check and like insurance, or what do you get for that?
He wants to know what you made. He wants you to give him the total.
Specific numbers.
Oh, you want the fixed number. So right now it's online. I mean, you have to, I think if you're 59 or 62, you're getting 230 or 240 right now.
A year.
And
wow.
projected, when you can do the numbers, projected when in
it'll
say
increase
30 years,
inflation,
20 years,
et cetera. Yeah.
Yeah, it should increase to 330, 340 or something like that. So knock on wood, you live that long, and it's a great icing on the cake in the back end of life.
It's very cool.
Must be nice.
Radio doesn't do
treat
that.
My grandchildren. Treat my grandchildren to ice cream on that.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, radio has. There's no pension in radio. You're insane. You just turn insane and into a sociopath after a decade.
They know there's no retirement. You're doing this forever.
Yeah, you drop dead in the chair in front of the microphone.
That's exactly.
Hey, that's
right.
the thing is that I learned this from a friend of mine. He said keep getting paid. And actually, it's Eric Davis. He said keep getting a check. If they're gonna pay you, keep getting a check somehow, some way. He said the Reds pay him. He still don't know what he does, but they keep paying him.
He was so good, dude. I love Eric Davis, man. Thank you, bro.
So great.
We are out of time, but really appreciate your thoughts as usual and your time, and we'll talk to you next week.
All righty.
All right.
Adam Jones on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. What he said about Ken Williams and Rick Hahn, just time. It doesn't necessarily mean that the GM's an idiot or he's forgotten baseball or even that he's got a bad plan for his team. But at some point in almost every organization, Joe Torre's time runs out with the Yankees. It just is time to make a change. I'm not saying the Padres are there, but when you hear Peter Seidler, and his faith in A.J. Preller, it's an admirable quality, but he can't just say, hey, I've got my GM for the rest of my life. The next 20 years we're good to go, because at some point it may just be time in an organization to make a change, that you need to mix things up every once in a while. And it was, I think, an interesting point that Adam Jones made about the Chicago White Sox there.
Yeah, I think so too, and I know that White Sox fans that I follow, our boy Herb Lawrence yesterday was elated. They've suffered, in their opinion, under the rule of.
They have suffered so much, and for the last 4 years, it's always supposed to be their year.
Huge expectations every single year.
You know what they have from those guys though? They have a ring.
Yeah, in 05, but
they have
it's still
a ring. It's a long time ago,
Yep.
but I mean, how many times have we said, "Hey, give us one ring, we'll be happy forever"? No one's happy forever on one ring.
Yeah. Very true.
All right, we'll come back. Second half of Ben and Woods, reset the show. We also have Skip Schumaker joining us in our next hour. All ahead here on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we are halfway home. Spicy Ben and Woods show this morning here on 97.3 The Fan. Thanks for being here. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, our sweet little angel. If you missed that story, go back and listen to the opening segment today. A really, really heartwarming day. From our executive producer, proud to know you, Paulie. Benjamin Higgins,
Thank you.
Your friendly neighborhood sports anchor here as well. Also proud to know you as well.
I'm also proud to say this hour is sponsored by Smart and Final.
Yeah.
This Labor Day, stock up and save. Shop Smart and Final and get low prices on everything you need to throw the ultimate Labor Day cookout. Get it all in one trip, and that's it. It's Smart and Final.
I'm glad you were able to work that in.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Why Smart and Final?
It's simply the best.
The best.
Simply the best. Paulie does the rundown every day, and I like at the top every now and then to look and see. It says, what day is today? Like today is National.
It's always multiple days. They cram them all in.
There's only 365 days in a year, and there's a million different days. But today, for example, is Black Ribbon Day, National Cuban Sandwich Day.
A good Cuban sandwich.
National Sponge Cake Day. I can go either way on sponge cake. I'll eat it in a pinch. And then this one, National Ride the Wind Day. Now, I don't know what that is.
What about International Day for the Remembrance of the Slave Trade and its abolition?
I was going to skipped over that
Skipped over that
yeah,
one. What
you
can't just skip over it.
Well,
I mean,
it's its day.
You got to give it its day.
Okay.
Let's spend a moment here remembering the slave trade.
Okay.
And its abolition.
I just didn't want to get into the whole political debate. I wanted to talk about National Ride.
Is that a political debate?
Is that debatable?
Ride the Wind Day. No, it's not. You're not on this show, at least.
Let's get into a debate about the slave trade. No,
what are we debating here?
We're not debating anything on this show. It's just they have an eclectic mix of days, is what I'm saying.
Boy. Yeah, they do.
National Ride Like the Wind Day. I love that
it's
song.
Ride the Wind Day.
Not Ride Like the Wind.
I wanted it to be Ride Like the Wind. But we wanted it, and it was also collaboration week on the Daily Ditty. And I thought, well, Ride Like the Wind is a great collaboration between Christopher Cross and Michael McDonald.
I've, of course, already picked it for the Daily Ditty, like 6 times probably.
Like in the first 2 weeks, I think.
Oh, yeah.
But that song, you know the story.
I love this. I love the Wood story on this song.
The Ride Like the Wind.
Yeah.
Reminds me of a time being a young kid when it was very popular. Or I would guess like 82. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think you're about right.
Feels very 1982. But when I was a little kid, I always pictured him riding on a 10-speed through the desert. And I don't know why it was a 10-speed.
No one rides 10 speeds through the desert at all.
I don't think anybody rides 10 speeds anymore at all. They ride e-bikes.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
But rarely do you do it
100%.
on a desolate desert stretch.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to be in a car of some sort for those long, like, the road from San Diego to Las Vegas, not good for biking, even e-biking.
Well, so if I always thought if he was in a car, he would have said drive like the wind, not ride like the wind.
Right.
Riding means riding a bike. I didn't think he was riding a skateboard. I think he was riding roller skates. I always pictured a guy running from somebody on a 10-speed.
And I have always pictured him on a horse.
On a horse?
Yeah, it's like a Western type
theme?
I mean, he's going for the border of Mexico.
Right.
Seems something like an old gunslinger might do. He's got a gun on his hip in the song.
Shooter?
Yeah,
Does he?
Something like that in the lyrics. So he's got a gun. He gets on his horse. He rides for the border of Mexico because if he gets across the border,
he's safe.
They can't touch him.
Nothing
He's
they can
free.
do.
Because this is extradition laws, I would assume.
It's a throwback. But today is National Ride the Wind Day.
Now that makes me think of windsurfing on like Mission Bay.
Kite surfing.
Yeah.
Looks amazing. Terrifying.
No,
but
God,
yeah.
I don't want to do it.
No.
I like things that are powered on their own, and you don't have to wait for the wind to kick up for them to go.
When you were a kid, you rode a bike. Oh, no, you didn't ride.
No, I was not a bike
God.
rider.
Oh, my God. You didn't even have one, right?
Like the most basic thing that kids did.
We tried at some point, but I never really felt comfortable or got into it.
How did you get around?
I walked.
Chauffeur?
I walked.
You walked?
Yes, for the most part.
Did they have
Or
valet
would get a
in
ride
second grade?
somewhere. Where were you going as a kid? I didn't go anywhere.
7-Eleven,
Yeah.
the
I could
video
walk to
store.
7-Eleven.
Buddy's house.
Buddy's house.
7-Eleven.
Girl's house.
They were all close. I lived in a neighborhood where I could walk pretty much everywhere.
And Your friends ride bikes, though? And like, hey, let's go ride. Like, that was a thing. Let's go ride bikes. You guys want to go ride bikes? Hell yeah, let's go ride bikes.
I'm sure some of them did, but I guess I wasn't
And
included
you just
in,
walked
in
by. Did they have to
those
slow way
activities.
down?
I know about where you grew up. Like, yes, you could walk to your buddy's houses,
Yeah.
but
it's
you
kind
wouldn't
of-
like ride bikes to the beach or something. Like,
No.
He's afraid of the
No,
water.
never happened. I mean, yeah, so we'd go to the beach, but
Sure,
we
in
would
the
drive
car.
to the beach in the car.
So it's a summer day, 1986. You're
Yeah,
11.
sure,
You're
yeah.
11.
Yeah.
Summer day. Walk me through a typical summer day. Dad's at work.
Yeah.
School.
Mom's at home.
Let's see.
Typical summer day. Wake up at?
Yeah, I had a couple of friends who lived like one or two houses down, so might organize like a wiffle ball game down on our lawn or
Okay.
the backyard.
The back 40.
Of some sort. Maybe go over and play, early Atari video games, either at my house or
That's pretty typical.
one of
I
his
guess.
houses,
Yeah.
and spend a couple hours doing that. Could walk down to the 7-Eleven, was only quarter of a mile down the street from where we live, so you get a Slurpee, and you really didn't want to ride a bike because that street, Rancho Santa Fe Road, was through
It's
Encinitas there.
windy
Even
and
back
busy.
then,
Yeah.
cars go really fast, and I mean, even before we heard about all the dangers of what can happen, before helmets were a thing, even no one really wanted their kids riding bikes.
That makes sense.
On that busy street.
Oh, believe me, my kids ride their bikes and scooters, and I'm terrified. It's a terrifying proposition. All right, well, good. It sounds like you had a normal, idyllic childhood.
Pretty
just
much, yeah.
not having a
Just
bike.
not biking around.
It was
Then
the-
skateboards kind of started coming out, and I
Yeah.
didn't do those either.
Yeah, I tried. You've never seen a worse skateboarder.
We had like a fairly steep paved hill above our house that they would love to skateboard all the way down.
I did it all, man. Skateboard, rollerblading was a
Never
blast.
did blading.
I really did not like
I
skinning
hated
my
roller
knee
skates.
in any sort, so I didn't like to do anything that I could skin my knee doing. What? It hurts.
That sums you. It does.
Yeah, I do
It
not
does.
like skinning my knee.
It doesn't feel good.
No, it feels really bad. So I tried to avoid those potential activities that could result in like a road rash or a skinned knee.
Oh, dude, I had a net, a goalie net.
Mm-hmm.
My buddy had a hockey net, and we would just do rollerblade, roller hockey, street hockey. So fun.
Played a lot of street baseball, but we rode bikes like crazy. Like down to the video store, grab a movie or something.
I told you guys we had a BMX track that like teenagers built
Yeah.
in these woods, and when we'd like ride by and we'd kind of like peer through the trees and be like, I don't think anyone's there. Let's go.
Let's go.
'Cause we couldn't be
You
there.
weren't allowed
The
to be there.
16-year-olds
No.
were there.
Get your ass kicked.
But we'd go when they weren't there, and it was
that's the best.
So much fun.
A lot of days in the summer, on his way to work, Dad would drop me off at the par 3 golf course, and then I'd just stay there all day, and he'd pick me up on the way home. I'd play like 36 with the old ladies, who came out.
Just getting your work in.
Yeah,
Tom
absolutely.
says Ben must have been bored as hell as a kid when he wasn't riding in limos to Laker games.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the freedom that the bike provided for me was like,
You
all
felt
right,
like you could go anywhere.
You could go anywhere at all. And your parents didn't know what you were up to. They couldn't see you out the kitchen window
You didn't have a
playing
cell
with the ball.
phone.
Yeah, it was wild. It was wild. So there you go. That's our remembrance of here on National Ride the Wind Day. Here
Skip Schumaker is going to be with us at the bottom of the hour at 8:35. He's the manager of the Miami Marlins. We got one more game today, 1:10 start, and I will continue to remain consistent with what I said last week. Padres need to go 7-3 in each of their last 4 10-game stretches. They are now 2-3 in the first 10-game stretch, which means
5-game winning streak.
Got to
incoming.
reel off 5 in a row to get to that 7-3 mark. Seems highly unlikely, starting with the matchup against one of the tougher pitchers in baseball today.
They'll probably beat him
in Sandy Alcantara, but
just further.
It's hard to be totally surprised by anything this team would do. The only thing that really would surprise me, I brought it up with Adam Jones. The only thing that would be surprising is if they fell behind like 4-0 in the third or fourth inning and then rallied to win a game, because we have almost never seen this team do that.
That's it.
This year, and I saw the stat this morning in the UT newsletter. Their batting average of .211 while trailing is the worst in Major League Baseball, which means because their offense is pretty much down the middle and their run differential is positive, when they are tied or ahead, Padres are one of the best offensive teams in baseball. One of the best in baseball. As long as they are up, they can mash. They can murder it. But you put them in a hole, and they turn into a pathetic offensive team. Like a a light switch flips, and they look at that scoreboard, and if the other team has more than they do, they can't do anything at the plate. Doesn't that tell you the most information that you can get about this team? That it's mental. It's almost a mental issue with this team.
It happened early in the season. Xander said, yeah, because it wasn't going well. You know, they were in one of their. I mean, it's just been like a long, weird, jagged skid. Not a full skid, you know, like a 9-gamer, but just kind of a jagged skid all season. Xander said earlier in the year, you know, you can see when the other team gets a run on the board, you know, we all start to slump our shoulders, and I'm like, that's a different mentality than we've seen even been on way less talented Padres teams than that.
Yeah, there are teams out there that struggle. Let's say they don't hit left-handers well,
sure.
Or they have trouble with off-speed guys who throw a lot of big breaking balls and they just hit straight fastballs better. There are teams that clearly have some deficiencies talent-wise, but I think with the Padres, I really do think they have enough and more than enough talent to be successful. It's a mental issue with this team. And that stat of 211, worst batting average in baseball, fewest come from behind wins in baseball, especially when down by 2 or more runs. I think 6 all year. I mean, most teams have triple that at this point of the season through 100 and 25, 30 games that they've come back and won 12, 15 times when they've been. Because coming back from down 2-0 in the third is not remarkable. It's not something that is.
It's not even something you should look at.
It's not even you put in a game note necessarily the next day. Wow, the Padres rallied from a 2-0 deficit in the third inning to win. That's just a game.
That's Chat GPT writing that story saying the Padres scratched out 4 runs
so the
to
fact
overcome
that
a 3-run
they've
deficit.
almost never done it, to me, tells me there is a significant mental issue with this team. And I don't know what fixes it. Does an offseason, like just wiping the slate clean and going back to 0-0, does that make everything all right? Because my biggest fear going forward is that game 1 next season, they fall behind, the same things start to happen, and then we just go right back down this same path. How do you break out of that? Because, well, why was last season different? You had some great walk-off wins. It wasn't necessarily the core 4 guys who did it.
And
it was
you never felt
Jorge
out.
Alfaro,
You never felt out of the game.
Came through, but you felt like the Padres were about to come back and win just about every game last year with essentially a lot of the same guys that were on the roster. So what was different? Well, they won a few, and they got some confidence, and they just rolled with it. But you can't force that next year. Hey, all we need to do is win a couple of come-from-behind games in the first week next year and ride that the rest of the season. That's not a plan. That's just crossing your fingers and hoping. So what is it physically, mentally that the Padres can actually do to change that mentality going forward? Because it ain't snapping your fingers. I don't think it's a speech from the manager that, Bob has tried, Lord, he has tried to get these guys to erase their memories, forget about yesterday, one game at a time, all the managerial cliches that you can throw at a team that's in a mental funk. I know they've tried. None of them have worked with this team. None of them.
Yeah, and it starts to lead down the path of, do they want to play together? Do they want to play for each other? Do they want to, you made the point last night, and I saw Scott Lewis followed it up as well about looks like they're quitting on offense. They're certainly not quitting on defense. You saw Nando with, a couple great throws last night, one of which was handled, the other one wasn't. You saw Xander, the error notwithstanding, a couple of great plays later in the game. Manny's turned in some beautiful plays. Hassan Kim continues to make every play.
To me, if you really want to argue, and I understand why you do, that this team is lifeless and they have quit, wouldn't you see, hey, ball in the hole, I'm not just absolutely diving all out
Roger
for it.
Dorn.
What does it matter at this point? So what
do you want me to do? Dive for it?
Why is it that they seem like every day on defense they're throwing themselves around and making great plays, yet that intensity does not look like it translates to the offense and to the plate? It doesn't make a lot of sense.
I wish I knew. I wish I knew. It doesn't. Somebody said yesterday, well, defense is more reactionary. And I was like, I don't know, man. Hitting's pretty reactionary.
Yeah.
Like, it's about the most reactionary thing you can do. I know these guys, and hey, we know they want their numbers. They've talked about wanting their numbers. They don't want to not hit. They don't want to not hit.
No one's going up there going.
Can't wait to ground out. I'll take a Randy roll over here.
Let's see if I can just get out and get a roll out as quickly as possible and get back to the dugout. But then I'm going to go onto the field and I'm going to be ready to, react to a line drive and make a phenomenal diving catch.
Michael in the chat says they've quit in the sense that they're just trying to get through the game as quickly as possible. That I think there's actual evidence of that. I mean, as evidenced by Trent Grisham last night after a long ass inning coming over, weekly grounding out on the first pitch, rolling one over, and I think Luzardo. I think he had like a 7-pitch inning after Snell had that long 35-pitch inning. But I guess in their defense, we sure get mad when they stand up there and stare at strikes too. It's like they can't win, and the reason that they can't win is because they're not winning. It's just
go out and attack the ball. Swing at that first pitch. Why did you just roll over at that first pitch?
Yeah.
All we want is results as fans. We don't care if they grind out a 10-pitch walk and come around and score, or hit a first-pitch home run and score. We just want them to score. We want results. We don't care how they get them, and they're not getting any results consistently. All right, we'll take a timeout. You missed it. An epic Incorporator last night from Jesse Agler. We'll bring that back for you. And then Skip Schumaker joining us at the bottom of the hour on San Diego's #1 sports station. Back after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Just a couple minutes away from Skip Schumaker joining us here on Ben and Woods.
Benny, where do we stand with the record and games back and all that?
The Padres?
Yeah.
People get mad when
Ben and Woods. Yes, the Padres.
Well, people get mad when I brought it up before the game yesterday. The Padres had a chance because the Cubs and Giants both lost. If they had won, Blake Snell on the mound, they could have pulled within 4.5 games in the wild card race. I'm not saying they deserve to be there. I'm not saying I expected them to win.
Back.
6.
Did they lose half a game? They're 6 games back.
6 games out of the wild
Is that because
card.
the Diamondbacks won yesterday?
It's really.
Are the Giants out of a playoff spot now? Have they blown the complete?
Yeah, they're half a game back.
They've blown their playoff spot.
Tied with
Wow.
the Reds,
Yeah.
both half a game back. The Marlins are 1 game back, and then the Padres. The Mets are only 7 games back. We're 6.
Oh yeah, the Nationals are 8 games back.
Nationals 7.5.
7.5. Padres are a game and a half ahead of the Nationals.
That would have been
The Washington Nationals.
Pirates are 8.5 back.
The Pirates.
That would not have been on the old bingo card this year,
Yeah.
boys.
Do you know how many games back we are out of the division?
40.
17.5.
I think they finished 22 games back last year when they went to the NLCS.
It's true.
The division has not even been.
That was the 111
something
win.
they've been close to. Yeah, it's because the Dodgers won so many games.
Since we're just going down that path,
Yeah, go down the list.
The old Fangraphs playoff odds, which were like 40% like a week ago.
And then
down to
25,
what, like 8?
then 14, then 12.
Yeah, 9.6.
So 10% chance.
Every
10.
game closer to the end of the year, that margin is gonna
1 in 10
smaller.
seems generous, actually.
So you're telling me there's
seems generous because 1 in 10 things happen all the time.
Sure,
I mean, but that seems a little generous at this point. They need a run that they've shown no signs of being able to put together. It's one thing if you won 8 in a row early in the season and you're just looking for that hot
magic,
streak again. What blew me away. This is one that blew me away, and then we'll play the Incorporator quickly, or we can push it back because we've got Skip Schumaker coming up. Seattle Mariners and the San Diego Padres were both almost the exact same spot at the end of June, like 3 games under 500. Both teams that came into the season with a lot of hype on an upward curve. A lot of parallels there.
Both playoff teams.
Obviously, the Padres had higher expectations, but expectations were pretty high in Seattle. Hadn't been able to do anything in the first half of the season. Everyone was, though, predicting the Padres eventually it's going to happen. And we kept saying, eventually it's going to happen. Mariners, kind of the same thing. Well, it finally did. Even after they traded away their closer, they have reeled off 2 8-game winning streaks here in August already.
It's unbelievable.
That's...
But they win 8, lose a game, then win 8
they
more.
won 8, they lost 3, they won 8.
Good Lord.
That's 4-game winning streaks this month for the Seattle Mariners.
Yeah.
This month.
This month. Something the Padres have 0 of all season long. The Mariners have done it 4 times in the first 22 days of August, something the Padres have been unable to do all season long.
Yeah, here's their month. They lost on Tuesday, August 1st to Boston. Game 2 of that series. They came back on the 2nd and won the series. Win. Then they lost 3 in a row and then back on another 8-game winning streak.
Now, if you look in the first half of the season, it's not like the Mariners were reeling off long winning streaks. They did have a couple of 4-gamers, but nothing longer than that. In the first half of the season, they weren't reeling off big winning streaks, and all of a sudden, here late in the season, they figured it out, and they've gone on 2 massive winning streaks. So
After
there are
teams
that do that, and all of a sudden, late in the season, go on these runs. It just hasn't been the Padres; it's been the Mariners that are doing it right now.
I mean, do we even think they have a shot at winning 4 games in a row this year? You got Sandy on the bump today. I mean, so it just 4 games is just such a monumental hill to climb for this team, which is shocking. It's the most shocking.
I would say the odds are against a 4-game winning streak at this point happening. I mean, there's only
It'll be
35
the last
games
4.
left.
I mean, you got 3 against Milwaukee, 3 against St. Louis, then 4 against the Giants, 3 against Philly, 3 against Houston, 3 against the Dodgers, 3 against Oakland.
You have 9
and
straight
Colorado.
against Oakland, Colorado, and St. Louis
All right,
at
you
one
win
point.
those 3 against Oakland and that 1 against Colorado, and you've got it in the bag.
It's 9 straight against 3 3 teams that are dead last place. 3 of the worst records in baseball. You got 9 straight against them.
Oh, that's going to be fun to bet.
Can you
out
come
of those 9 games?
Can
how
you come
many do they
through
win?
with a 4-game winning streak during that 9-game stretch in the middle of September?
We should do a mini parade if they do, which I think would be very sarcastic and
just the 3 of us will parade around the building.
Around the building with champagne. We did it. They said it couldn't be done, and we did it.
Now watch them lose like 7 of those 9 after taking like 4 in a row from the Astros and Dodgers. Right
Yeah,
before that.
Of course. That's exactly right.
All right, we've got Skip Schumaker scheduled to join us. We will break, and then we will come back with the manager of the Marlins next year with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. I know Padres fans are having trouble mustering up the hope that the team can get back in it, but I promise you today's game is incredibly important.
It is.
In the National League wildcard standings. Not necessarily for the Padres, but absolutely for the Miami Marlins, who need to win series. They're currently a game out of the final playoff spot in the National League. And joining us right now on our premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline, longtime favorite of our program, and always a pleasure to welcome Skip Schumaker back with us.
Skip Schumaker.
Tier 1 Skip Schumaker back with us here on 97.3 The Fan. Skip, good morning.
Hey, good morning. It feels like old times. I'm driving into the yard from Orange County, listening to you guys, so it started off as a really good day so far.
Well, we appreciate it. Now, let's pretend for a moment we are a Miami-based morning show, just for a moment. So the first thing I would have said, we've got our weekly call with manager Skip Schumaker, and I will say, Skip, I've got to question your managerial skills last night, letting Jake Berger be thrown out at home by Fernando Tatis Jr., because why wouldn't you challenge that? We've lost every single challenge at home plate this year. Were you not aware of that situation?
I do remember it. I remember your situation. I remember the Padres situation. Actually, Cortez just got hit the other night by Tatis, and you guys challenged it. And it was reversed, because I think it might have been San Fran when you guys lost that one.
Yeah,
correct. It was.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just it's a really weird rule. It's such a gray area. I still don't understand it. That's why it gets challenged all the time.
It's a guaranteed win for you if you challenge that, though, last night. We have not won one all season long. I thought Sanchez was in the right spot.
Oh, he was like 18 feet in front of home plate and then ran back to make the tag because he didn't want it to get overturned on him yet again this season.
And by the way, how wild is that? We're talking to a big league manager. We've talked to Bob Melvin about it before. We've talked to broadcasters. Everyone's like, yeah, no idea. No idea. You don't even know what to tell your catchers, do you?
I just know that you set up both feet in fair territory, and then after that, I have no idea what they look at. I'm just completely, I've been told that, what they look at, and then we review it, and it's just completely different. So I don't know. It's almost like the check swing.
Yeah.
Like some people identify the check swing as like breaking the hands or the body or a catch to the ball. Nobody really knows. They just call it. So it's a really confusing rule.
Skip, Blake Snell said after the game and threw pretty well last night, but had the one inning and he said he got a little mentally out of sorts after giving up the home run to Jorge Soler, and it was a monster home run, and Soler flexed.
Beast.
I mean, we're not going to complain about it. We got guys who flex on big home runs for sure.
It was awesome.
But it was an epic flex by Soler. It got into Blake's head a little bit, he said. What did you see kind of in that situation? Because I know kind of umpires almost stepped in. It really wasn't addressed much on the TV broadcast, though.
Yeah, I think for us, Soler was just a little frustrated in his at-bats lately. And so for him, it was more of like, I got one. I got one. Finally, I got it. Just because of where he's been at lately. Frustrated with his first at-bat. Didn't have a great series in L.A., so he was just more of like, kind of wanted to fire off a good swing. I finally got it. I think that might have been his career-long home run, so he felt good about the home run. And it was no ill will against Blake. You're playing. It's a competitive game, and you're playing. Men are playing a boys' game, and sometimes things happen. It's just competitive stuff.
Frustrated by 33 home runs. We could use a few more of those frustrated players over here, Skip.
I've never hit anything that hard in my life, Skip. My God, that ball was a missile out into the ivy. Talking to Marlins manager Skip Schumaker on Ben and Woods here this morning. And, you've done a really good job, man. I think admirable job with what you have, what you've had to clean up there in Miami this season. So, tell me about it. It's something that's kind of been pervasive in the media here all year. We've kicked it around. Fans kick it around all the time. The issue of culture and how a culture is created. You obviously came up in the St. Louis organization. They preach and practice culture. I know you've taken a lot of that to Miami. How difficult is it to implement into a clubhouse?
Well, it is challenging. I think first and foremost, for me, I was very lucky to pick my own staff. And once I got staff that knew what winning looked like, and there's non-negotiables, we were proactive and not reactive to stuff that happened early on in spring training, like day one, these were our non-negotiables. This is what we're about. We had to trim the fat. We had to get rid of the BS because I always felt like one guy can tear a team down, tear an organization down. I've been on teams like that. And so I was very lucky to incorporate some guys from, I know you're not going to want to hear this, but the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks, the Cardinals, and some ex-Padre guys, and Rod Barajas and Griffin Benedict. And so I was very lucky to bring them on and incorporate, the culture, try to implement a winning and sustainable culture that, these guys know what winning looks like. And, we tried to do the best we could day one of spring training, and guys bought in. And we were very lucky that we had some leaders in that clubhouse that bought in right away.
What are, if you don't mind my asking, I'm fascinated by this stuff, as you know, what are some of your non-negotiables? Because I've got a few for Ben that I've written down as well. But what are your non-negotiables?
Well, I do feel like there's non-negotiables and for each coach on the staff. I just feel like you need to dominate your area. So the non-negotiables in base running are, like, for instance, you hit the bag with the right foot every single time. Your secondary leads are, you have intent with secondary leads, or your non-negotiable for outfield is pre-pitch and first step. You don't miss the cutoff man. Just infield guys have their thing. So know what their non-negotiables were and don't get away from it. And once you get away from it a little bit, then that's when those, the big time players or some of our even rookies in our minor league system will take advantage of it. And so we needed to implement that type of system and that type of culture, not only at the major league level, but at the minor league level, so we could have in direct communication that what we expect up here at the major league level better be is expected at the minor league level as well. And that's when I think this thing will work.
Skip Schumaker is with us here, and I think that attention to detail sometimes shows up in your record in close games, and the Marlins have the best record in one-run games at 27-11. The Padres have the worst record in baseball in one-run games at 6-19. Now, I know you got a ton of respect for Bob Melvin, and his attention to detail is there as well, but do you have any explanation for your success in one-run games, or some people say it's a lot about luck as well, just winning those close ones? What do you think has made you guys so good in those close ones?
Well, last year we were the worst in one-run games. I think we lost.
And the Padres were the best.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So we lost, I think, 41-run games. They were like 20-40 or something. So, there's a lot of talk in the offseason. How do we flip that? I think it was important that, we identified some bullpen issues, that we had to fix up and clean up, and our GM and our front office did a really good job of doing that. We saw a lot of the back-end guys last night that has helped that as well, with Tanner Scott and Lozardo, Tanner Scott and Nardi, and obviously the addition of Robertson. But, I think we won a couple of them early. And I will say, sometimes we're out talented. I mean, that's just, our roster. But our guys they believe and they don't quit. So we just have a bunch of guys that fight. And that's what I'm most proud of our guys in our clubhouse. They just don't believe that they're out of anything. And I think when you win a couple of those close ones early, then you start believing we can do this. We've been here before. No big deal. We'll just give it to our bullpen. They'll keep us in the game, and we'll fight back. And I think it starts early on when you win a couple of those games, and then they just start believing it's just part of our brand, part of our culture that we're in every game.
Talking to Skip Schumaker here on Ben and Woods this morning. How difficult is it for you, and guys know you. They know you were in the league. They respect that. They know you played the game at the highest level and played it well. But how hard is it once you're the boss, right, to then we talked a little bit yesterday about, hey, yeah, I've had to pull guys out of a game, and they're not always happy about it. How difficult is that part of the job, or maybe, sadistically, do you look forward to that a little bit, getting in somebody's face a little?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Tony La Russa told me, you make a move to don't make a move to cover your butt, make a move to trust your gut, don't make a move to cover your butt. And I always thought about that as I'm making the moves, is how prepared am I to make those moves? And my job is to put the right guys in the right spot to succeed, and to give themselves the best chance, to give ourselves the best chance to win. And if I'm not prepared and I'm just making a move because the analytics says, oh, make the move, then the players will see right through it, and then they know that the front office is making the moves, and you have no credibility. So I think you need to have a blend. Don't get me wrong. I love analytics. I know the numbers. I tried to learn them as much as I could through my days in San Diego and obviously in St. Louis last year, of like what it really works in today's game and what players understand, because there's feel. There's a human element to this thing. And so when the player knows that you're all in on them and it's not just a numbers game, then that's when I think those tough conversations become just a little bit easier.
You know, and it brings up an interesting point because I have to imagine, I've said it before, maybe I'm wrong because I know nothing about managing at the big league level or really any level. I have to imagine
you did well as a T-ball manager this last year.
I did, yeah.
Don't sell yourself short.
That's true. And hey, listen, wait till they hear my list of non-negotiables. They're dead. They are dead. They're going to hate the day they played for me. But no, Skip, I got to imagine, and we talk about it all the time, bullpen management, always the easiest thing to second guess. How much of that, obviously, like you said, you stick to the numbers sometimes, you know the numbers. How much of that is just gut feel? Like, man, I know he's scuffling a little bit right now, but I like this spot for him. How nerve-wracking is it, to be honest?
Yeah, it's both. It's gut feel and preparation. I have a really good pitching staff that we talk to an hour before the game every single day that we meet up, and we make sure that the guys are healthy, the guys are fresh, that we anticipate pitching in leverage situations. The game will tell you whether you are ready or not for that role. And then sometimes you earn those roles, right? Like Nardi has grown into this role in the 7th and 8th inning. So I do think that as difficult it is, and you hold your breath sometimes, with bullpen decisions and when to take guys out. And I'll be the first to admit I have not been perfect, in pulling guys out or leaving guys in too long or taking them out too early. I think every manager will look back and there's a couple games that you lose sleep at night thinking about some of the moves you've made. But I do think it comes back to the preparation. And when you have your staff that's all in on these moves and we prepared for these moments and it doesn't work out, then you can live with it a little bit better, easier, I should say.
Last thing for me, Skip, it's been a couple of years since you left the Padres organization, but who are some of the guys, whether it be players or coaches or staffers, who are like, you must catch up with when you come back and see them, like some of your favorites that you get to visit with when you're here?
There's so many. Honestly, there's so many good guys in there. Fred Ullman's amazing. I think, TJ Lasita is one of the best people in that organization. Best people.
Definitely secretary,
one of my best friends. Yeah, driving secretary is one of my best friends. He's so great for that organization, and he'll be a friend for life there for me and my family. Just all the stuff that he's done. But player-wise, I talked to quite a bit of guys. Coaching staff, still Ben Fritz and Ryan Flaherty are really good people and good coaches. Players-wise, I look forward to always seeing Tatis and Musgrove and Jake Cronenworth. Those are probably my favorite guys, over there. And, obviously Manny was always great. So there's just a lot of good people there. But, there's I definitely miss a lot of those guys.
Well, and tell us, you on the bump today, you've got Sandy Alcantara, who I'm obsessed with. I have been for a long time. I know he scuffled at the beginning of the year, but he has turned in some remarkable performances. Again, you never know. Baseball's so weird. Like I said, it wouldn't surprise me if the Padres beat Alcantara just because it's been such a weird year. That being said, one of those days kind of as a skipper, you're like, I feel pretty good about the bullpen today and everyone getting a decent rest. He has the ability to go 9 every time out. How fun is it to manage that guy?
Yeah, it is. It's amazing to watch him. He has the work ethic of a Joe Musgrove. He wants to pitch 9 innings every single night. So it's tough to go to the mound in the 7th inning or whatever it is. As tough as a year Sandy had in the first half, he still leads the league in innings pitched, just to show you who he is. And his second half has been more the Sandy that, we saw in the first half. He wants the ball. It's really nice to have, like you said, to reset that bullpen, because you're going to get 7 at least. And so we're looking forward to having him, obviously, Game 3 of the series.
When players call you Skip, do you think they're calling you by your name or they're calling you Skip like short for Skipper? Because that is the nickname for like most managers is Skip. Hey, Skip, how's it going? Like Bob Melvin. Hey, Skip.
Funny. Yeah. Tony used to remind me every day. He's like, you might be Skip, but I'm the mother effing Skipper. Don't forget that. So, yeah.
I love it. Great catching up with you. Really appreciate all the visits. Good luck to you guys the rest of the season. Obviously, if the Padres can't do it, we certainly would love to see you guys make a nice run in October. So maybe we'll chat with you then as you get ready for a playoff series.
Thanks, guys. Always great catching up. Love your show.
Appreciate it,
Skip,
buddy. Thank
who is
you.
now the MFing Skip of the Miami Marlins, with us here on our Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad fan hotline. Save money the right way with Premier Chevrolet of Carlsbad. Visit them today in the Carlsbad Auto Mall. Chevrolet, find new roads. We'll react to what you just heard after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto family, here's Kelly Danick.
No, guys, no improvement on that northbound side of the 805. You're solid from Telegraph Canyon Road all the way up to University before it lets up. That's all due to several accidents. Fortunately, nothing blocking lanes. Northbound side of the 5, it's just as bad. No incidents or accidents. Just slow from Palm Avenue all the way up past the bridge before it lets you go. Let's talk about other things. Westbound side of the 54, there is a collision blocking the right lanes just before the 805. Also an accident on westbound King Freeway. Now this is right before 25th Street. Those vehicles are over to the right shoulder. Northbound side of the 15's been hit with an accident right before the 8. Motorcycle involved in this one, that is over to the right shoulder. Also hit and run accident on westbound 52. This is just past Mission Gorge. 2 vehicles in the center divide. I'm Kelly Danick with Benham Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Kelly giving Skip all the roads to avoid as he drives into Petco Park for the game today. We wouldn't want him to be late.
So I brought him yesterday. I brought him a new Ben and Woods shirt, and it's going to look. So he sent me a picture of the other one we gave him, the gray one. It's like gone. He's like, I wear this shirt every day. It's my favorite shirt. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
They got those industrial washing machines at a baseball game that just rips our logos just come right off that thing.
It's a nice gray T-shirt.
I told him I got him an extra medium, just like he likes. His big arms. I'm like, oh boy. I saw we got him a large, Paulie.
That's what we got him last time.
It's gonna pop out of that thing, man.
But I think I might have asked him.
If you had a body like that, wouldn't you wear a shirt that was two sizes too small?
Ever. I would never wear a shirt.
I think I remember the Tony La Russa thing. Like maybe one time when Jace had been ejected and he took over as manager, I go, wait, are you Skip? Are you Skip or Skip?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm the Skip. You're just Skip. All right, we've got 1 hour to go. Paulie's got some headlines on the Reindl Report that we haven't gotten to yet.
No, I got some.
And we still want to
for you.
replay that Incorporator. Jesse, amazing last night. All ahead here with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Final hour of Ben and Woods here on 97.3 The Fan. Working toward a 12:10 pregame show with Sam Levitt today. Seth Lugo pitching against Sandy Alcantara. Got a couple of Bulldogs out there for sure. Well, I really like what I've seen from Seth Lugo this season.
Me too. Knock on wood, though. I think you did this last time you got torched. So.
Last time he pitched 6 shutout innings.
Yeah, but the last time you were pouching him, he got absolutely torched.
That's true. I still like what I've seen from him this year, though.
Stop. We just told you to not do it.
I don't think he's going to beat Sandy Alcantara today, but I like what I've seen from him this year.
That's better.
Get to some headlines with Paulie here. I've got a story that I know he won't include in the Reindl Report, but I did my first ever discus story last night on Channel 10. Discus, yeah.
I've always been fascinated with the discus.
The discus?
Even when I was a little kid.
Yeah, I saw this pop up, and I saw the video, and it was amazing. I had to show it. So this discus athlete, she's from San Diego, went to Mount Miguel High School. She lives in Spring Valley. She is a U.S. discus thrower, Lalaga Tausaga. Went to the World Track and Field Championships in Hungary, Budapest, Hungary. Not considered one of the favorites, but on her 5th throw, I think you get 6 throws, she beat her personal best. I think it was by over 4 meters. And I guess in discus, like if you beat your best by an inch, that's considered pretty cool. So she absolutely launched the throw of her life. And she won the gold medal. No American woman has ever won a gold medal in discus at the World Track and Field Championships. And she was so happy. I mean, you could see she was stunned. You ever see an athlete who truly doesn't expect to win and they find out that they have just won something?
Yeah,
it's a magical moment.
Padres win a game.
Yeah, it is a really magical moment. And I have never shown a discus highlight before. I mean, I'm sure it's a very challenging,
the way that
physical.
They throw
yeah,
it is...
I mean, you do that. You spin around
Yeah.
and then you had to stand in that little circle and you hold it under your arm.
Have you
a little
ever
bit.
held a discus?
No, I've never even thought about it. I've held a shot put.
I've also,
that
I've held that.
Jump, push.
Ben and Woods Track and Field Day is not the worst idea I've ever heard in my life. Just FYI. Remember Field Day in school?
Yeah.
Best day of the year.
Yeah.
Best day of the year.
All the events that you had to do.
You hate it?
No, I liked it. It was fun.
All right.
Because they marked down all the times and everything. I wasn't good at it, but I liked the statistical. Everyone gets marked exactly how far they can throw. And
Field Day.
Javelin. I don't think they let us do javelin.
No.
Those are too dangerous.
Or pole vaulting.
Do they
still?
I have no idea how that even works.
Do they still do Field Day at school? I don't think they do.
I don't know.
They don't want anybody to feel bad anymore.
We used to have the jogathon where you would sign up sponsors for how many laps, 10 cents a lap, and then they donate to some sort of charity.
Had to run them?
And then you had to run as many laps as possible. Oh, I got 20 laps, so 10 cents a lap, that's $2.
Yeah, you raised 40 cents, 30 cents. 10 cents a lap.
They always had the coolers with that sugary orange, whatever it was.
Tastes like battery acid? Yeah. Disgusting.
To help,
Like knockoff Tang.
Yeah, knockoff High C or whatever
grody.
they'd serve you at the end of the jogathon.
I miss Field Day. God, that was fun. Should bring that back, an adult Field Day.
Field Day.
Yeah, nude. It'd be just all nude.
No. What would Field Day be? I mean, I don't want to do pole vaulting. I have
you couldn't.
High jumping.
You couldn't with a gun to your head.
I don't think the physics really work out for any of us.
What I would pay to see him try to run with the thing, stick it in the ground, and pull himself over a pole.
My buddy's like a VP of a local high school. I'm sure they have the setup.
There could be a YouTube video in unathletic people attempt track and field events.
Long jump would be fun as hell to watch.
Cameron, if you're listening, if you guys have a pole vaulting setup, I need you to reach out.
Wouldn't you be even scared to try?
Well, how do you get it to really stick in the ground and then you pull yourself up by some fiberglass pole?
No way.
I have no idea how that even works.
Somehow it gets lodged in your armpit and you impale yourself. This is a bit gone bad.
Even if you start halfway up, how do you make sure you land in the mat? You just fall backwards
whoa!
Go! Holy crap.
Field Day. Huh.
Oh my God, that would be so fun.
My brain is working overtime right now. Oh God, it'd be good.
All right, let's get some headlines from Paulie in the Reindl Report.
And get things started here with our
Today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah? Oh yeah.
All right.
Just looking at the betting lines today. The Padres are favored again. What?
Well, they do have like 100 better run differential than the Marlins.
But it's Sandy Alcantara on the... okay. Wow. Wild.
So you bet on the Marlins on Monday, and the
No, I
Padres
didn't.
won. Oh, you didn't bet on the Marlins on Monday.
No, I don't bet against the Padres.
Okay.
Ever.
Ever.
All right, gentlemen.
Much to my chagrin.
I got a couple of headlines here for you. We will start off in college football. Reggie Bush is filing a defamation lawsuit against the NCAA, according to his lawyers. Reading from ESPN here, the quote says from his statement, the lawsuit is based on the NCAA maliciously attacking his character through a completely false and highly offensive statement that was widely reported in the media and substantially irreparably damaged his reputation. That statement came back in 2021. We all know what happened with Reggie Bush. The argument for Reggie has been, look, now, especially now, you could debate whether or not he really should have gotten his Heisman revoked from 2005, whatever that was. He wasn't really doing anything that bad or anything that a lot of the other schools weren't doing already, but he got caught. The argument is, hey, name, image, and likeness now. Players can make all this money. They can sign deals. They can do contracts and all of that stuff now. Give him his Heisman back. And so a couple of years ago...
I refuse to comment on grounds I may incriminate myself.
A couple of years ago, the NCAA issued a statement. They said, although college athletes can now receive benefits from their name, images, and likeness through activities like endorsements and appearances, NCAA rules still do not permit pay-for-play type arrangements. The NCAA infractions process exists to promote fairness in college sports. The rules that govern fair play are voted on, agreed to, and expected to be upheld by all NCAA
That's the
member
defamatory statement by the NCAA? That's the one that he's suing over.
They are saying the NCAA statement is completely false and highly offensive. The NCAA knew Mr. Bush was never even accused of, involved in, much less sanctioned for any pay-for-play arrangements, which never occurred.
Do I not understand what happened to Reggie Bush then? I thought...
He had a 10-year disassociation from USC.
Right.
That was lifted in 2020.
His family got a house and all kinds of things, and it was in exchange essentially for him going to USC to be their running back. Whatever you want to call it. I mean, I get that Reggie Bush has been treated, I think, much more harshly than most NCAA athletes, and it has been unfair, but how can I don't understand how he says that it's not true, as though I did nothing wrong and the NCAA is saying I did nothing wrong. I mean, everyone knows Reggie, like many college athletes, they took advantage and took some improper benefits. I don't think it makes Reggie a bad person, but suing and saying that they're besmirching his character essentially, but you're rewriting history here. Even though the rules have changed now, the rules were in place back then. You violated the rules as they were written back then. And yes, you could probably get away with a lot of that now.
This makes me sick to say, but I don't know of anybody that deserved a Heisman Trophy more than Reggie Bush. He might be the best that I ever saw.
Maybe the best single season.
By the way, the NCAA doesn't give
player.
out the Heisman Trophy. They can't give it back to him or not give it back to him. It's not theirs to give out. It's the Heisman Trust. They give out the award. Now, they said, based on the ruling by the NCAA, we can't really, in good conscience, let you keep it.
Right.
And maybe they could give it back if they did.
It absolutely, absolutely deserved that.
Can I both think
if
that
the
Reggie
NCAA were to officially give him back the records and the statistics and everything, then he would get the trophy.
Can I both think that Reggie deserves the Heisman back and that a lawsuit against the NCAA for that is fairly ridiculous?
Yeah, I think,
I think
all
it's
right,
fair.
let's go tit for tat then. Give me my Heisman back, and I drop this, and he just wants his Heisman, which, again, it makes me sick to my stomach.
That's probably why he's doing it. It's leverage to try to get him to just give me my Heisman back. We'll drop the lawsuit. Just put the records back. I get my Heisman back. You don't have to pay lawyers for anything, and that's what it feels like to me.
Got a soccer story here that is just incredible. I think you're going to like this one, Woodsy.
Woods likes bits, and this is a great bit.
We're talking about, I hope it's pronounced Malaga CF, soccer team in Spain.
If that's wrong, someone will let you know.
Well, the accent is on the first A, so it would probably be Malaga.
Malaga. Okay, we'll go with Malaga. So Malaga was relegated last year. They finished last in the Segunda División, and
that means second division in Spanish. Woods.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're going to spend next season in the Primera Federación of the Spanish League. This was
Premier Federation.
Yeah,
they have.
But that's actually below the second division, I guess.
Yeah, it's been a rough go for them. Let's see. It says here over the last decade. In 2020, they had to release their entire first team due to financial issues, and this is a team that has not made a notable signing of a free agent in years because of those financial issues. So to cope with all of this, and I'm reading from our friends at the Big Lead here, to cope with this, some fans showed up to the Malaga Costa del Sol airport. A bunch of fans show up at the airport and pretended that they were welcoming a high-profile free agent signing to the city.
Like, hey, we just signed Messi. Let's go greet him at the airport, even though no one's showing up.
Padres signed Manny Machado, and all the Friar faithful go down to the airport, and we're waiting for him with signs. Thank you. You're the savior for this team. We love you. We appreciate you.
All right.
They went so far that these fans picked out a random tourist at the Malaga del Sol airport, just a random guy, and presented him with a homemade jersey.
Guy's just getting off a plane to enjoy his vacation.
Number 69.
Was it number 69?
Yeah.
Genius. Bits is worldwide bits.
The tourist they picked out, I mean, it's beautiful. He is so confused. He's like, what the hell is happening? And they're just cheering. They've got signs, the jersey, everything, and they go nuts.
Let's do this for Ohtani.
They had a fake security guard.
Somebody bring him here. Refused to let him go.
Somebody dressed up like a security guard to help usher this tourist through the crowd of people.
Can you imagine if you got off a plane and like people who were speaking another language were all of a sudden hailing you and cheering you and presenting you with gifts? How incredibly confusing that would be.
What? Oh my gosh. And then finally, you guys remember Fire Fest a couple years ago?
Yeah, I do.
Did you watch the documentary?
I didn't. It's one that I kept meaning to watch, and I never did.
You still should.
We'll never forget the cheese sandwich.
I remember the stories.
Fire Fest was started by a few people. Was it Billy McFarland and Ja Rule? And it's the documentary. I think it's on Hulu, if I'm not mistaken. It's fascinating. They came up with this idea of a music festival, which everybody loves music festivals these days. There's 5 a year in San Diego, I think. And it was, let's get in touch with high-profile celebrities and social media influencers, models, all of that. Let's get them involved early and promote this island in the Caribbean. It's a secluded island. It's going to be a week-long festival, whatever it was, 3 days. And we are going to have the highest acts in music, Bad Bunny, Blink-182,
it's going to be super high-end, like the elite of the elite.
Yes, the elite of the elites. And the problem was they sold out, in minutes. You had people like Kendall Jenner on her Instagram, like, I can't wait for this. And it was the biggest bust. I mean, Billy McFarland went to prison.
He went to prison over it
because
for fraud,
of a con
right?
artist. Yeah, and they're like, they told him like the infrastructure on the island, you don't have plumbing for bathrooms.
Right.
He's like, I'll just bring in a few porta potties. They were gonna have thousands of people there. What are they gonna eat? Well, we got bread and cheese.
Yeah, cheese
slices, and the tents that they built up as luxurious beachside cabanas. Yeah. They like the guy in the documentary is like, I slept in one overnight with my wife. She made it 20 minutes. We were freezing. There were bugs everywhere. It's awful.
So what's the story? It's coming back.
The story is Firefest 2. Tickets are on sale now.
Who would buy them?
I don't know. Even if you haven't seen the documentary, you probably remember
they're going to do
story.
it right this time.
Here's a little clip of Billy McFarland.
Okay.
He went on Instagram yesterday, or maybe 2 days ago now. But
what's up, guys? This is a big day because as of right now, Fire Festival 2 tickets are officially on sale. It has been the absolute wildest journey to get here, and it really all started during the 7th-month stint in solitary confinement. I wrote out this 50-page plan of how it would take this overall interest and demand in fire, and how it would take my ability to bring people from around the world together to make the impossible happen, but how it would find the best partners in the world to allow me to be me while executing Fire's vision to the highest level. In my first year, I partnered with one of the biggest and best TV companies in the world to produce a documentary called After the Fire. I've also worked with one of the biggest production companies to sign a deal to produce Fire Festival, the Broadway musical.
I mean, dude, it's literally the same pitch that he made a couple of years ago for the first Fire Festival.
It's odd how they do. Sometimes they do festivals this way. I know Coachella went to this model of, no, you buy the tickets first, then you find out who's on the bill. No. I'm not. I can't.
Absolutely
I cannot
not.
do it because then what happens? I don't want to see these bands. I'm gonna and now I got to sell my tickets. May not get everything.
But you got to build up some goodwill with some great shows
Well,
before
yeah, absolutely.
that convince people. All right, well, I've seen the acts before. I'll take my chances. I know I'm gonna have a good time. With Fire, it's the opposite.
It's the absolute opposite. No, you better. Yeah, you have. I mean, there's no way.
Even if
You're
you
a
are
moron.
the most optimistic of optimistic people out there, and you're like, I want to give this a second chance. Tickets are already on sale. They're selling out quickly, according to Billy McFarland. He went on TMZ. Oh yeah, we're almost sold out already. Tickets are going for as much as $8,000. If you didn't learn your lesson, but you're giving them another chance, let's see. I'll try to get you some information here. Specific dates, they don't have any.
Oh,
it'll happen at the end of 2024. They say.
All right.
The location, it's TBD.
Yep.
Festival lineup, it hasn't been quite announced yet. Where will you stay? We don't know. What are we gonna eat? We're working on it. But if you want to pay to go to Firefest 2, tickets are on sale now.
You can't fix stupid. You just can't.
I wouldn't feel bad for anybody that gets scammed this
No,
time.
I wouldn't either. At this point, this is on you. That's amazing. All right, Firefest 2.
Unbelievable.
Maybe Odyssey will send us.
Be a good bit.
Be a great bit.
Adam?
We got some good guests coming up the rest of this week. I want to get people excited about what we've got ahead of us.
The long
a good day
tease.
today, but want to get some people excited. We'll start dropping some hints or some early teases here coming up. Let's get a check of traffic and be right back with more Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Sour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by the San Diego Automotive Museum's new exhibit, A Trip Down Whiskey Road. San Diego Automotive Museum's new exhibit opens August 31st. Explore the origins between moonshine, NASCAR, and heavily modified whiskey running cars that inspired modern muscle cars. Go to sdautosmuseum.org for information.
You ever had moonshine?
I've never had moonshine.
They sold it like you could buy it in the liquor store.
I never knew if that was that's
Yeah,
not like
it's
real
not the real.
moonshine.
It's like
grain alcohol, like 200 proof, 100% alcohol.
Never had it. I don't think I would like it.
I don't think any really like the taste, right?
I think you should use it for the effect, maybe.
Like a mixer to like increase the potency of a drink of some sort.
Moonshine.
But if you're just drinking it straight, I think you go blind or something. It's...
You go blind. People did it. They did it. They loved it.
It's like in the Matrix in the future, they have to make their own alcohol, and it's always really nasty, strong stuff that they make themselves.
Yeah.
That's, moonshine. That's what I'm picturing. So I watched another episode of Winning Time last night on Max. The Lakers, fantastic. John C. Reilly is Jerry Buss, a show that is currently in its second season. And tomorrow, I believe, this hour, right? 9 o'clock hour tomorrow?
8 a.m.
8 a.m. hour tomorrow. We're going to welcome back Jeff Pearlman, who wrote the book, Showtime, that the series is based on. And he's been part of the team that's helped bring it to life. And I am, the last time we talked to him when it was first coming out, last year, the first season, fascinated to ask him, what do you think about the actual, all the Lakers' reactions of how they hate it? They hate the portrayal. They hate the stories. They don't like the liberties that they're taking to make it a little more spicy and exciting. Every single one of them. Even Norm Nixon came out this week on, no, this fight with Magic is not real. His son plays him in the show, and he's going, yeah, this shows they get it all wrong. It's his kid. It's his kid. Devon Nixon plays Norm Nixon.
God, he crushes
in the show.
it too.
He's so good.
The
He's
casting
so good.
is unbelievable.
Bro, the Larry Bird character,
yeah,
scary.
Guy who plays Kareem nails Kareem. I mean, Magic's character, Jerry West, is a hoot, and John C. Reilly as Jerry Buss is terrific. Jeannie Buss, I mean, they're all good. And Adrian Brody, as you said, is Pat Riley.
Unreal.
Is terrific.
He
He's
is
getting a lot
absolutely
of play this season.
Yeah, he's
As
incredible.
Paul Westhead kind of falls apart, and
Jason Segel.
Yeah.
It's incredible. This is an incredible series. The Larry Bird story in the last one was, I had no idea. Had to go do my research on that. Very sad upbringing that Larry Bird had. I really had no idea about that story. I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody, but man, it is just so well done. So yeah, Jeff is in fear that they're not going to be able to make a season 3. Now, it's obviously because of everything that's going on with SAG-AFTRA and all that. So I guess my question to him will be...
He tweeted something a couple of weeks ago. It was like, we need your viewership now more than ever.
Yeah, so he also said something, we'll ask him tomorrow when we talk to him, about it kind of being buried on the app, right? If you use the Max app, he's like, it's just not easily accessible. People don't really know about it.
They kind of had to
They're
force
like,
it through.
yeah,
it's like book authors want to be an Amazon bestseller because it automatically pops to the top of everyone's list. I don't know how Max does it, but feels like a lot of people open the app and they got to search and type in Winning Time to get to the show, as opposed to it just being recommended for you right off the top.
And I just, wonder, there's got to be a billion projects on hold. What's to stop them from making it when everything's finalized? I guess other people commit to other things, they commit to other projects, and it just kind of loses a little bit of its luster or the sizzle, I guess, which I'm amazed after how well the first season did that there isn't more people talking about it. It's great.
Also, coming up on Friday, as you'd expect, we're going to have to start turning our attention to some more long-term Padres issues, including the sustainability of the current roster with all the long-term contracts. And Dan Zimborski, who is one of baseball's great analytics guys and writers, we've had him on before. He wrote a piece this week about how the Padres could be in a lot of trouble with the expected production out of guys like Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts and Jake Cronenworth as their contracts go on and their numbers start declining. How are you going to replace that production when you've got so much tied up in these contracts, and take a hard look at what the Padres could be facing, maybe not next year, but certainly within the next 2 to 3 years? Is there a reckoning coming for the Padres?
Isn't it wild how much the losing has just changed everything.
Well, yeah, I mean,
180.
I think we'd all accept a reckoning after a couple of World Series titles, and
Reckon away.
yeah, it's time to reckon. But it's a
we'll
lot
be very
harder
happy.
to face a reckoning after a season in which you don't even make the playoffs. Okay, that was your good season. Now you get to face the reckoning of this season afterwards. That's bleak stuff.
Looking forward to that on Friday. Maybe we shouldn't have.
But then
teased that one.
again, you look at the guys that are coming up and the young players, and maybe you avoid the reckoning with a productive minor league system that is going to hopefully
of both,
graduate some really exciting young players that can help change the culture a little bit as well. So we'll see. Talk to Dan Zimborski. Anything else I failed to tease?
No, I think that's
This
it
week,
right
that's
now.
that's the big two for the next
Eno
couple of days
Saris
for us.
tomorrow, Craig Elston Friday,
Friday.
Friday. We'll figure out who we're going to get this week from Milwaukee.
And of course, I want to play the Incorporator again. Should we break and come back
break.
and do it?
Yeah,
All right, we're going to break.
It was
Come back. With
really good this
really
week.
good Incorporator from Jesse. If you missed it, the word is aglet, which is the little metal or plastic tube at the end of a shoelace. But Jesse takes it in a predictably yet spectacularly Jesse direction yesterday on the broadcast. So we'll do that and then wrap things up on a Wednesday on Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. You got to play the Incorporator back one more time here. Jesse Agler got the word aglet yesterday during the show. Yeah, just like his last name, Agler, but with a T at the end, which means the little plastic, little sleevey thing, nub.
Or metal
tube that you put at the end of a shoelace that, keeps it all neat and makes it easier to tie. And that's called an aglet. And I can't believe we had never given him that word yet as the Incorporator because it just seems so perfect since his name is Agler. Little did we know, though, that Jesse would take it in that exact direction with Tony Gwynn Jr. last night.
Want to go behind the scenes of America's #1 ballpark? Pre-game tour is presented by Bubs at the Ballpark. Provide fans with an intimate and exclusive view of the ballpark, and you can even watch Padres batting practice. Book your tour at Padres.com/tours. Met someone from a tour today. Here's Jazz Chisholm taking inside ball 1. There's a group of people, actually. One, a young man named Dallas, who was a great kid. It was wonderful to meet Dallas. And then kind of next to Dallas was this group of people who are huge Padre radio fans. 1-0, swing and a miss.
Huge.
1-1 on Jazz Chisholm Jr. And the one guy was like, Jesse Aglet, I hear your highlights all the time on Coach Quintera's show. And I just gave him a big thumbs up. 1-1 is low, 2 balls and a strike. Very nice guy, very enthusiastic. Says he listens to me and Tony every night. He got your name right. 2-1 to Chisholm with 1 out, nobody on in the top of the 6th inning. Swing and a miss. 2-2.
Jesse Aglet.
You have to entertain yourself sometimes, and I remember earlier in the season, there was a guy on Instagram and he was getting so mad at me because the Padres weren't playing well, and he's like, I'm so sick of tuning in, hearing you guys laughing, and like this is serious. This is serious business, and I'm like, look, it is. I take it seriously. I love it. I'm mad about it. I lose my mind over it. But you have to laugh and keep yourself entertained, or you'll go nuts. I mean, your blood pressure will spike, your heart will explode. You'll drink yourself to. I texted Jesse Agler this like 2 weeks ago. I go, bro, I'm so happy I do mornings. If I had Tony's shift, I'd get the kids down at 8 and be like, I'm pouring a bourbon, and who knows where I'd end up. I mean, seriously, it's. Doing morning radio has literally kept me clean and sober, because I'm like, I can't do a terrible show hungover every day, but that you'll lose your mind if you don't laugh at some of the stuff and find ways to entertain yourself, as we always do, because, listen, as important as it is and as important as we all feel that it is, at the end of the day, it's not, we're not curing cancer here, and neither are the Padres, but they certainly... It certainly has been a very, very. I'm in kind of the depression phase about it. I'm not quite. What's the stages of grief? Do you know them off the top of your head?
Denial.
I've been there for sure.
The last one's acceptance.
Okay,
and in between there's anger.
Okay, I've definitely been.
There's bargaining.
Pull it up, Paulie. Pull it up and let's run through it real quick. Many people
the stages of grief.
So many people.
Denial.
Okay.
Denial.
Anger.
Okay.
Bargaining.
Oh,
depression. And acceptance.
I'm in depression. That's where I am. Sad. I'm sad. Last night I was.
Yeah,
sad.
I mean, think about this season. I mean, when the Padres struggled early.
Okay, hold on. Denial.
There's no way that this team is.
Guys, it's
bad.
May.
Yeah,
relax.
they're going to be fine.
Just relax. It's May. It's baseball. It'll turn around.
Then anger was second. Yeah, we got anger. Then bargaining. Then we're starting to get desperate. Like, if we can just win 4 games in a row, just one 4-game winning streak.
We got to go 7-3 in every 10.
Yeah. Now depression.
That's where I am.
And next will come acceptance.
I will not.
And that's when we kind of move on and we'll start talking about
next year
off-season moves. What can we do? And we have to accept that this is how this season went.
It is wild how it works in the context of a baseball season.
I feel a lot of Padres fans just started at anger and are still at anger.
That's true. That's true. That's true. But I was a big denier, certainly. Yeah. And I feel like I feel like you should be if your team gets off to a crap start.
I've kind of been. I started at denial and just kind of stuck there for most of the season.
Yeah,
you're
you're
run differential.
Hold on. That's
is
bargaining.
is
though.
denial.
That is bargaining. You're a big bargainer.
I skip quickly through anger, though.
Yeah, you don't
I'm
get
not,
really.
I'm not
angry.
much of an anger person.
You never have been though about the baseball.
No.
Or sports. In
No,
general.
I get.
What's the angriest you get? Like, how does that manifest itself? Because I've kicked the wall.
What do I do when I get angry?
Well, about baseball or football or basketball or something.
Like if I'm watching by myself and I get really angry, you'll see me go like just like it's just like
just get this shake, like shake it out. Yeah, like
it's like.
Yeah, I've definitely I lived in a lot of anger, but the bargaining, we do that. It's also bargaining is also kind of our job, to be like, well, listen, I mean, we've seen it happen before. How many times do we bring up the Nationals of a couple years ago? The Braves. Hey, listen, look, guys, it can be done.
It has happened.
It
before.
has happened before. It's obviously you can do it. I'm in the depression phase, and that's that's the worst of all. Like the depression phase of just like, I hate this. I always want to turn the game on, but I'm just like, man, this thing got away. It just got away so seemingly quickly, but I know it's just been a long, drawn-out process for a lot of fans, and as dumb as it is, man, there's 35 games to go, and I'll be watching every pitch.
You heard Jesse mention a young man named Dallas who was up in the booth before the game. If you didn't listen at the beginning of our show, I recommend you use the rewind feature on the Odyssey app to go back as Paulie tells the story of bringing Dallas to the game. A young 9 years old, you said, Paul, who recently lost his dad. A mom now left with 4 kids on their own, trying to just deal with a just horrible tragedy. And Paulie wanted to make something good happen for this kid and the family, and was able to take him down to batting practice and up to the booth and have a moment. And if you missed it, you can go back and listen to our Woods gets he almost loses it.
I just thought about somebody doing it for my kids if something happened to me. So Paulie, again, my respect, my love, my I'm proud of you. I don't mean that to sound condescending. I'm very proud of you. That was a very selfless and cool thing that you did for that young man. And we talked too about how special it is for. Look, I'm 47. When Manny says, "Hey," I'm like, yes. Like I'm 47 or 48 years old. I still get excited, right? And at 9, 10 years old, when I met Dave Winfield, I think when I was 10, and it changed my life, truly. And Ben, I know you grew up in you had a different scene. You got to meet a lot of, it was kind of old hat for you after a while.
Well, you know what? I was a Padres fan. I never met a single Padre growing up.
Is that right?
I got to meet a lot of Lakers, which was very cool.
Sure.
But in terms of like Padres, I don't remember ever meeting one. Maybe Nate Colbert, I think, lived in the building where my grandparents lived, and you might have met him when I was really young.
Say what's up.
But yeah, but
you didn't meet Randy Jones.
That was even
everybody
before.
in San Diego
I never
has
met Randy until I got into radio.
Really?
Yeah.
It's crazy. And it's just such a cool experience for kids. And honestly, I feel like every kid should get to meet a big leaguer at some point in his life.
Like Dallas plays a Little League, and we're watching batting practice. They're 15 feet in front of us, and one of the rounds ended, and they all, Cronenworth, Manny, Sanchez, they all get down, and they pick up the baseballs, they put it back in the net. And I go, "Do you have to do that at batting practice?" He goes, "I hate picking up baseballs."
Yeah, so does my kid.
I was like, "Hey, guess what? When you make it to the big leagues, you're still going to have to pick up the
Still
baseballs."
picking, dude. I try to tell Bo that every day. He won't pick. He sits on the bucket. I go pick and throw it to him, and he puts it in the bucket. I'm like, something's wrong here. Manny picks. I tell him, Manny picks his no-goes. Yes, he does. He picks his balls. I showed you. He picks it. Now he does. Okay. It was funny. We were talking to Skip yesterday. We went to have coffee with him. He was talking about his own son. And his son's a baseball player, as you can imagine. And he said, obviously, it's pretty solid when he comes to visit me in Miami. He goes, he hits with Group 3, and he goes out and shags and everything. He goes, funnily enough, he would never listen to me when I was Skip Schumaker, former player, first base coach, bench coach, never. About baseball, never. He goes, now that I'm a manager, he actually listens. I'm like, you are a former big leaguer's not good enough? And
someone trusts him. I guess I should now. I'll
He's
sell.
like,
Okay.
he's like, oh, okay, well, now that you're a manager, I'll actually listen to your advice. Dumbass kids, man. I'm telling you. Like, it's like, dude, I'm telling you, I have this experience. I know how to tell you. I know how to get you where you're going. No, I'm not going to buy it. No, now I'm a manager. Okay, now I buy in. Priceless stuff.
All right, we got one check of traffic left. We'll come back, wrap things up. I got a game this afternoon. Padres aren't the only team feeling the misery right now in baseball. I got a couple other stories for you before we go here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the premier Buick GMC of Carlsbad Traffic Center, part of the Premier Auto Family, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by 7-Eleven. Well, guys, please don't get mad if I don't mention your freeway. There have just been so many accidents, and from what I can tell, the roads are dry, so what is up? Northbound side of the 805, accident-free, but yeah, still at a crawl from before the 54, pretty much off and on, all the way up toward the Golden Triangle. Northbound 5, not much to brag about either. Most of your slowing is from J Street on up through National City. Northbound 125 at the West 54 connector ramp, an accident blocking middle lanes. Also clearing an accident westbound 54 before the 805, and the backup of that just before Rail Drive crash over the right shoulder. Also traveling on the northbound 15, got a vehicle fire before Poway Road. That is over to the right shoulder. And on the southbound side of the 15, right before Rancho Bernardo Road, collision blocking the two left lanes. Small blue raspberry Slurpee drink from 7-Eleven is the perfect frozen accessory for any summer outfit, winter outfit, or midnight craving outfit. 7-Eleven doesn't judge. 7-Eleven just sells small Slurpee drinks, any flavor for only $1. Slurpee, anything flows. Except traffic today, right? I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
You know it's bad when Kelly outtalks the music bed. I'm not looking forward to getting
Hurricane Hillary out there? What's going on?
getting in a car after this show based on that traffic report. This hour of Ben & Woods brought to you by South Norte Tequila Cocktails. Real tequila, real juice. Savor South Norte premium tequila cocktails. Sip on a classic margarita, an authentic Paloma. Pop the top on the Mexican Mule or Savor the Matador, available at Stater Brothers, Ralph's, and more. So misery loves company in baseball, and the Padres aren't the only team in the torture chamber right now. How about the New York Yankees, who are now in the midst of their first 9-game losing streak since 1982?
That is amazing.
And heading toward their first losing season since 1992. They saw C.J. Abrams hit a go-ahead ninth-inning home run as the Nationals beat them yesterday 2-1.
First losing season since 92.
The San Francisco
31
Giants,
years.
who've been comfortably in playoff position for a while now, have lost 12 out of 16. They've fallen out of a wild card spot in the National League. And even teams that are having a good year, like the Texas Rangers, have lost 6 in a row. Got swept recently by the San Diego Padres as well, and they're still in first place. But the Astros and the Mariners are right on their heels now.
What a race
Right
that
on their
is.
heels. In fact, it's so close. They have another bad week. They could fall completely out of a wild card spot. I mean, Bruce Bochy, who has been hailed as the turnaround factor in Texas, like this couldn't happen to a Boch team, right? Well, it's happening to the Texas Rangers. If they don't put a stop to this slide soon, they could find themselves completely out of a playoff spot.
That'd be unreal.
In the American League.
That'd be unreal as well as they've played, Ben. Holy smokes.
But I would say no team is in the bigger torture chamber right now than the Chicago White Sox, where things have gotten so bad that they didn't even wait until the end of the season. Talked about it a little bit earlier, firing their longtime president and GM, Kenny Williams and Rick Hahn, both getting shown the door by Jerry Reinsdorf yesterday.
And it's wild, too, because I saw a lot of White Sox fans obviously elated with the news. You can't fire the owner, right? And a lot of White Sox fans were like, well, great. I mean, these are the guys not only did you hire, and they did bring him a ring in 2005, but these are also the guys you stuck with for so many years, dude.
And
like,
I don't think
it's on Reinsdorf as well.
Yeah, I don't think
Also,
Reinsdorf is a great owner, but he showed the same faith in those guys that Peter Seidler has shown in his front office, basically saying, hey, I'm sticking with them, continuity, I think they're turning around. And then, they saw some good signs, like we got some really good guys coming up. They had a playoff run in the short season, got back the next season, and everyone thought, all right, they have landed on another great core that's going to make the White Sox one of the teams to beat here in the decade. And the last 2 seasons have been bad and worse.
And Reinsdorf was the one, too, that went against the grain of everybody and hired La Russa. And basically said, he owed him. He's like, I owed him from years ago, and I'm going to give him this job. And we saw how that went. I thought when they hired Pedro Grifol, I thought, man, I think this cat's going to turn this thing around. I think that's a great fit. it's been horrific. And from everything I've heard, their culture in that clubhouse is beyond
So the
toxic.
Padres are where the White Sox were last year. Very disappointing. White Sox, I think, finished at 500 when they were expected to be the playoffs. But they thought, okay, that was the aberration. They'll turn it around the next year. They've gone the other direction. They have, I think, the third worst record in the American League. It's been brutal. I wonder if the Padres are on a similar track. If they come back next year, I think we'll all, I'm sure, when they show up with the players they show up with, all the talent, we'll go, let's show them last year was the aberration, and they'll be back in playoff contention. But if they're not.
We just did this 2 years ago.
If they're not, I would assume, and they bounce back after 2021 with 2022.
I'm saying we just did this. Why do we have to do it again? I hate this.
But if they don't, will we see a similar move to the White Sox next year?
Yeah,
it doesn't come this year. Will we see it next year like the White Sox did?
Again, and I'll on the record, I think that not much will change after this season. I think that it will continue to be status quo, and let's hey, listen, it's baseball, things didn't work out. Let's give it another year. Let's see what happens, because again, you can't deny that they have talented baseball players in their team. Whether those talented baseball players can play with each other and want to play with each other and want to play for the name on the front of their jersey, that remains to be seen. They have not proven that this year. There's just not a lot of fight in this team, Ben. It's evidenced by that ridiculous stat you mentioned earlier about when they get down, they have 6 come from behind wins.
You feel like you can watch the first 4 innings of this
and you're
game,
done.
And you feel pretty solid knowing how the rest of it's going to go. If the Padres are up 3-0, 4-0, they'll probably go on, maybe win by 10.
Yeah.
If they're down 2-0, it's probably over. They're going to lose. Maybe close, but they'll lose.
Last night was one of those. It was tough to watch, and I wanted to finish it just to see. And I keep sitting there waiting for a flash of hope. And Soto barrels that ball, and the last thing, here we go. No. Great catch by Jazz Chisholm. Game's over. Manny pops out. Game over. And it's just as flat can be.
Last time Seth Lugo started, he was in a 0-0 battle, and it was the one they actually won with the Ha-Sung Kim 2-run single in the 8th and the Tatis home run, right? That was the game they pulled out late last week.
Yeah.
So, he'll probably be in a low-scoring game again with Sandy Alcantara on the mound, and they'll probably have to try to pull one out late. Doesn't make you feel great about their chances, knowing the best shot is to win a 1-run game against the team that's 27-11 in 1-run games. You're 6-19 in 1-run games, and when you got a matchup like this, you think it's going to have to be a close one.
Yeah, today should be. I mean, you talk about no rest. Alcantara's nasty, so should be a fun one.
We'll be back tomorrow with Eno Saris. Jeff Pearlman from the Showtime book, The Winning Time series, will be with us as well, starting at 6 a.m. Until then, have a great rest of your Wednesday. Coach and Braden coming up next. For executive producer Paul Reindl and Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Thanks for joining us on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So long.